The 2023 high school football season continues tonight for teams around the state of Ohio. We have 16 games scheduled, and our focus will be on Lorain County. For most teams, it's the last tune-up before the grind of conference play kicks off. Non-traditional matchups highlight Week 3 around the area, as the defending state champions in Division 4, the Glenville Tarblooders, come to town in a battle of the unbeaten versus the Avon Eagles. We also have an old-fashioned Buckeye Conference rivalry game tonight as Lorain travels to Sandusky to take on the Blue Streaks. And as always, we will break down all 5 conferences, including the Southwestern Conference, the Lorain County 8 League, the Great Lakes Conference, the Lake Erie League, and finally, the Sandusky Bay Conference. 5 teams remain undefeated as Avon, Lorain, Avon Lake, Columbia, and North Ridgeville look to remain perfect, and 4 teams face must-win situations with Elyria, Oberlin, Elyria Catholic, and Wellington on the bottom looking up. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Buckeye Community Bank, Slimans and Amherst, the Nord Center, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Zabo Apparel Company, Valley Chevrolet of Wellington, Alan Januzzi CPA, Lorain County Community College, Brian Victor of Howard Hanna, Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, Justin Miller, Esquire, Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson, Ernie's Auto Body, Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, Giovanna Bremke, Achieve Credit Union, Kevin Brubaker, Erie's Market, Mental Health and Recovery Services of Lorain County, Honeydude's Handyman Services, Lorain County Commissioner David Moore, Barber and Black, Lorain County Visitors Bureau, I-90 Nissan in Sheffield Village, Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, Ross Environmental Services, Music's Auto Care, Lang Optical, and Janasco Insurance. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dave Rivera, and welcome to the local portion of the pregame show brought to you by Slimans and Amherst, where customers send their friends. Here's the schedule for Week 3 in Lorain County. Starting in the Southwestern Conference, Amherst traveling to North Olmsted. Our WDLW Game of the Week features Glenville at Avon, who are both 2-0. Avon Lake at Chardon. Elyria at Akron East. Our WOBL Game of the Week is Elyria Catholic traveling to Midview. North Ridgeville is traveling to North Royalton. Strongsville is traveling to Berea Mid-Park, and Olmsted Falls is traveling to Canfield. In the Lorain County 8 League, Black River is traveling to Brooklyn, Fairview at Brookside. Our Lorain County Sports Network Game of the Week that you can watch live on YouTube is John Hay at Clearview. Northwestern is at Columbia, Firelands is at Poland Seminary, Keystone is at Lutheran West, without Zach Shackelford, who has been ruled out for the season with a lower leg injury. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Shackelford family. Oberlin at Lutheran East, Wellington at Plymouth. The Lake Erie League features Lorain at Sandusky. The Sandusky Bay Conference features Vermilion at Willard. On WOBL Radio, it's a crossover game as Elyria Catholic looks to pick up win number 1 on the road against the upstart Midview Middies from Grafton. Gary Tollett and Brian DeVito will have the call. On WDLW Radio, it's Glenville with Coach Tengid Sr. facing the undefeated Avon Eagles from Mark Wahlberg Stadium. Don Vincent and Rick Soto will bring you the action. Excited to announce that new this year, you can watch John Hay take on Clearview live on our free video stream on YouTube at Lorain County Sports Network. Don't forget to tune in after the final whistles of your game for the Postgame Scoreboard Show, presented by Achieve Credit Union, streaming live on Facebook at WOBL WDLW Sports. Kickoff is just around the corner after this timeout. Enjoy the game. I'll see you at halftime.
And as we get rolling on this Friday night, then the Slimans and Amherst pregame show here on the Lorain County Sports Network, we get a few minutes with John Hay, head football coach, Rodney Desapita. Coach, thanks for joining us and giving a few minutes of your time here tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, John.
Now, you've been at John Hay a while. What's kind of the difference on this team that we're seeing this year that you're bringing to the table that maybe you haven't had a chance to experience before?
Well, I think this group is it's really talented, and I feel like really it's more of what I haven't seen since the pandemic, because we were shut down for the 2020 season, obviously, and then in 2021 even. So, to be able to see the program kind of emerge from that has been a real challenge. And so this year I feel like, we're finally getting back to some normalcy as far as not just our numbers, but, our level of buy-in and commitment. But I will say that, at the quarterback position, I think, Day Ross, our quarterback, he's probably the most talented quarterback we've had since Malik Mitchell in 2012 and 13 and 14. He's at Ferris State actually now, but, that's a big difference. And also, I like our defense, especially in the middle with George Beard at our Mike backer. He's just a phenomenal player, and he's in on every play, basically.
And so let's go back to Day. You mentioned, what kind of quarterback is he? Is he running the ball? Is he throwing the deep ball? What's his main
Just about everything. I mean, he can run. He is an amazing athlete in general. He's a tall kid, about 6'4", but he can run, and he's athletic. But he's a very accurate passer as well. Gets rid of the ball quickly, and just a real talented kid. And he's only a junior, so I'm really excited about that too.
Now, I know another thing about your team, Coach. Just came out this week, the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings, and John Hay is number 34 in the whole state. You guys might be the smartest team that we're going to be covering this year. How does that play into your preparation, and even does it interfere, because you obviously have a lot of kids that are students first and football second?
Sure. No, we're really blessed that being a magnet school where students have to interview and apply to get in, and there are academic standards. It basically is a reflection of the students' parents or the adults in their lives. And so when you have support, even just one highly supportive parent, it makes, things a little bit easier, especially, in the classroom, but just getting the practice, keeping students accountable, and, just overall, even attendance at games. I know in the city of Cleveland, a lot of times we'll have afternoon games, and the stands aren't very full. But we know we can count on a number of our parents just, either taking time off of work or rearranging their schedule so they can support their children playing football. So we're grateful for that. And, these students are also very coachable and quick to learn and pick up things too. So that's always been, a nice thing to have also.
Now, your team's coming off a nail-biting 3-point win this past weekend, while Clearview is coming off a, heartbreaking last-second loss. So as your two teams come from different directions, how have you kind of tried to capture that momentum this week at practices?
Yeah, well, as far as our team goes, that game was closer than what we would have liked. And so it was just a lot of teachable moments and areas of improvement that we had to emphasize. We're grateful to win that game, but we could have easily lost it. And so it's been a pretty good week so far of focus and preparing, because, like I said, we could easily be 0-2 right now, if not for that overtime field goal by our kicker, Kason Kirkland, who's phenomenal, by the way. I'd like some colleges to take a look at him, because, he's been hitting in practice and in the summer, kicks over 50 yards. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, I know another thing, certainly we'll be looking for him in just a few minutes there on the field. But as you get into the one thing the numbers kind of do bear out that I wanted to ask you about is, so far your team has been averaging about 10 points a game, while as Clearview's been putting up 38. So is there something that your defense can do to slow them down, or that your offense that you've seen in film can take advantage of, or your junior quarterback maybe? We have two underclass quarterbacks starting tonight. So what can your quarterback and the rest of your offense do to kind of put up some more numbers?
Well, defensively, last week our defense was stout. Our opponent last week, Central Catholic, they scored on a offensive fumble, basically scoop and score. So the defense pitched a shutout. So I'm really confident, in our defensive coordinator and his game plan for what we have against Clearview. They're very good. They put up a lot of points, like you said, but between starting with George Beard in the middle and then up front, I feel pretty good. Offensively, we've had to do a lot of kind of adjusting and kind of reteaching of just fundamentals. And so we're trying to kind of go back and simplify things a little bit and try to put more points on the board, because ultimately, like you said, Clearview, they're a very potent offense.
And we're going to be getting things kicking off in just a few minutes. We appreciate Coach Rodney DeSavita for the John Hay Hornets taking a few minutes to get us ready for tonight's game as the Hornets and the Clearview Clippers come up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned to the Lorain County Sports Network. And as we get rolling on this Friday night, then the Slimans and Amherst pregame show here on the Lorain County Sports Network, we get a few minutes with John Hay head football coach Rodney DeSavita. Coach, thanks for joining us and giving a few minutes of your time here tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, John.
Now, you've been at John Hay a while. What's kind of the difference on this team that we're seeing this year that you're bringing to the table that maybe you haven't had a chance to experience before?
Well, I think this group is really talented. And I feel like really it's more of what I haven't seen since the pandemic, because we were shut down for the 2020 season, obviously, and then in 2021 even. So, to be able to see the program kind of emerge from that has been a real challenge. And so this year I feel like, we're finally getting back to some normalcy as far as not just our numbers, but, our level of buy-in and commitment. But I will say that, at the quarterback position, I think, Day-Day Ross, our quarterback, he's probably the most talented quarterback we've had since Malik Mitchell in 2012 and 13 and 14. He's at Ferris State actually now, but, that's a big difference. And also, I like our defense, especially in the middle with George Beard at our Mike Backer. He's just a phenomenal player, and he's in on every play, basically.
And so let's go back to Day-Day. You mentioned, what kind of quarterback is he? Is he running the ball, throwing the deep ball? What's his main
Just about everything. I mean, he can run. He is an amazing athlete in general. He's a tall kid. About 6'4", and but he can run, and he's athletic. But he's a very accurate passer as well. Gets rid of the ball quickly, and just a real talented kid. And he's only a junior, so I'm really excited about that too.
Now, I know another thing about your team, Coach. Just came out this week, the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings, and John Hay is number 34 in the whole state. You guys might be the smartest team that we're going to be covering this year. How does that play into your preparation, and even does it interfere, because you obviously have a lot of kids that are students first and football second?
Sure. No, we're really blessed that Being a magnet school where students have to interview and apply to get in, and there are academic standards, it basically is a reflection of the students' parents or the adults in their lives. And so when you have support, even just one highly supportive parent, it makes, things a little bit easier, especially, in the classroom, but just getting the practice, keeping students accountable, and, just overall, even attendance at games. I know in the city of Cleveland, a lot of times we'll have afternoon games, and the stands aren't very full. But we know we can count on a number of our parents just, either taking time off of work or rearranging their schedule so they can support their children playing football. So we're grateful for that. And, these students are also very coachable and quick to learn and pick up things too. So that's always been, a nice thing to have also.
Now your team's coming off a nail-biting 3-point win this past weekend, while Clearview's coming off a, heartbreaking last-second loss. So as your two teams come from different directions, how have you kind of tried to capture that momentum this week at practices?
Yeah, well, as far as our team goes, that game was closer than what we would have liked. And so it was just a lot of teachable moments and areas of improvement that we had to emphasize. We're grateful to win that game, but we could have easily lost it. And so it's been a pretty good week so far of focus and preparing, because, like I said, we could easily be 0-2 right now, if not for that overtime field goal by our kicker, Kason Kirkland, who's phenomenal, by the way. I'd like some colleges to take a look at him, because, he's been hitting in practice and in the summer, kicks over 50 yards. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, I know another thing, certainly we'll be looking for him in just a few minutes there on the field, but as you get into the one thing the numbers kind of do bear out that I wanted to ask you about is, so far, your team has been averaging about 10 points a game, while as Clearview's been putting up 38. So is there something that your defense can do to slow them down, or that your offense that you've seen in film can take advantage of, or your junior quarterback maybe? We have two underclass quarterbacks starting tonight. So what can your quarterback and the rest of your offense do to kind of put up some more numbers?
Well, defensively, last week our defense was stout. Our opponent last week, Central Catholic, they scored on a offensive fumble, basically scoop and score. So the defense pitched a shutout. So I'm really confident, in our defensive coordinator and his game plan for what we have against Clearview. They're very good. They put up a lot of points, like you said, but between starting with George Beard in the middle and then up front, I feel pretty good. Offensively, we've had to do a lot of kind of adjusting and kind of reteaching of just fundamentals. And so we're trying to kind of go back and simplify things a little bit and try to put more points on the board, because ultimately, like you said, Clearview, they're a very potent offense.
And we're going to be getting things kicking off in just a few minutes. We appreciate Coach Rodney DeSapita for the John Hay Hornets taking a few minutes to get us ready for tonight's game, as the Hornets and the Clearview Clippers come up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned to the Lorain County Sports Network.
One minute. Just like that, it's week 3 in Lorain County High School football, and we're glad you're with us here from the Lang Optical broadcast booth. We are in Sheffield Township this evening. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush, counting down to the top of the hour as we continue on with the Slimans and Amherst pregame show, getting ready for Clearview to host John Hay. And my goodness, that a beautiful, beautiful night for football. I don't know that we can ask for anything better than this, so let's get right to our weather and field conditions is brought to you by Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Right now, we've got 72 degrees, and with the clear skies, we're going to drop into the 60s pretty quickly because sunset actually now is before 8 o'clock. We'll probably get to sunset before halftime, but not getting too much lower than that as it's going to be just a great night for football. We just have a slight little 3 to 5 mile per hour breeze on the east, the flag in our southeastern corner of this revamped field here at Clearview is barely moving down there, so it shouldn't have any effect on the game at all, as we have a pretty good lineup going on tonight, as this is an interesting matchup, and I mentioned this in the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. Even though it's only week 3, it does have some serious playoff implications for the Clearview Clippers, and right now we'll get to the keys to this particular game and bring in our good friend Mike Rush, and glad to have you back here again for week 3, Mike.
Yeah, great to be back with you, John. Week 3, interesting matchup, as you said. Keys to the game for Clearview, we'll start with them. How did they respond to adversity last week? They lost a heartbreaker to Lakewood after 2-point play. Coach Collier spoke about it in the coach's corner. They got a good practice, now they got to bring it all together in this final night against Clearview on Friday night. How are they going to do it? It starts with their offense. Their spread offense led by Cy Christensen, the sophomore trigger man. They've got a number of playmakers. They've got explosive offense so far, and that's going to have to continue tonight. Defensively, they got to try to get their swagger back a little bit. They've got 8 returning starters on defense from a very good defense last year. It's a veteran group, and they're going to have to bounce back from a tough performance last week. As for John Hay, it starts with their defense. They've had a very stout defense throughout the first 2 games. Last week, they essentially pitched a shutout in a 9-6 win over Cleveland Catholic. They only gave up a scoop and score, so their defense is going to have to be stout tonight. Offensively, they're trying to get it going with their quarterback, David Rosser. We're going to see a lot of him tonight.
We'll get into that as the game goes on. Our keys to the game brought to you by Mahoney Mental Health and Recovery Services of Lorain County. Appreciate them and all of the great sponsors you see on the screen as we go through tonight. This is the Lorain County Sports Network, our inaugural season. And again, getting into week 3 with just beautiful weather here tonight and a very welcoming group of people here at Clearview that brand new facilities. They started kind of halfway through the year, but had to play for a while at George Daniel and Lorain in their home games. But got a brand new turf field here, brand new track, very comfortable stands here on both sides of the field, and on the press box facing, thankfully, no sun in our face tonight, but it is the image on the sideline space there for the beginning of this game. And we've got some interesting quarterbacks to watch. It was something to say, week 1, we had a great matchup with Oakland College, where Oakland High School was one of these teams trying to break a long losing streak. It was a very entertaining game. Last week, we had one of the finest quarterbacks in the state of Ohio, and that's that kid that's Logan Lush for Sandusky Perkins that's going to be in the conversation for all Ohio again this year, and even Offensive Player of the Year. And this week, as Mike mentioned, we're looking at a couple of underclass quarterbacks who are leading their team in big ways. So we'll get to the starting lineups here, which are brought to you by Kevin Brubaker, Alexis Brubaker for mayor. And we'll start with the Clippers offense here because we talked about how just prolific they've been the first 2 weeks. It starts with quarterback Cy Christensen, number 7. He's only a sophomore. He'll have in the running backs behind him are Ethan Lorenzana as well as Ashton Pavon. And then up front, it starts with Jordan Stowers in the middle. He'll be snapping the ball. The guards are Greg O'Hearn and Anthony Ruiz, although you'll see the guys along the Clippers offensive line move around a little bit. Yep. And then Isaac DeAndre will be one of the tackles starting out. He's a senior. And then we do have one switch in the lineup here tonight because Anthony Lockman is out ill, unfortunately, and he will not be able to play tonight. So we're going to look for Brody Wacker to be starting there at guard for the Clippers. The ones you're going to hear the most, though, is this is a passing offense by the Clippers. So their main guys on the outside, number 1 will be Aiden Cruz. He's eating up passes and eating up defensive backs for the first 2 weeks like nothing else. And Dominic Jackson is going to be outside as well. And then you're also going to hear a lot of Malcolm Lane. So those are the three guys that are going to be giving fits to the John Hay defense, which is basically they're going to run 5 defensive backs on the John Hay defense with 3 guys up front. You'll see Harvey, Redmond, and Green up front for the John Hay Hornets. And then their linebackers will be, you heard in the coach's corner, their Mike linebacker, George Beard, will be number 21. Look for him to get his nose in as many plays as he can be. And he'll have Isaac Wiley and Aiden Cameron with him. And then the defensive backs, the 2 safeties, are going to be Noah Nunny, who's actually the backup quarterback, as well as Aaron Bowling. And then on the outside, it's going to be Melvin Wells and Jacob Davis, but you'll see a lot of Lazarus Barber out there, as well as Dylan Clay. So those are our starting lineups for tonight. And we had the coin toss already, and the coin toss was actually won by the Clippers. They did defer. And, of course, John Hay elected to take the ball. They'll take the opening kickoff and be heading north when we get started here in just a couple of minutes. And that coin toss brought to you by Lorraine County Convention and Visitors Bureau, this is great, celebrating 200 years of Lorraine County together. That's a nice partnership we have out there with them. The Clearview Clipper band, as you can see, is on the field as the John Hay team comes running in. John Hay is still using the old locker rooms in the school. We have this brand new facility that has the home locker rooms as well as brand new restrooms, and there's a weight room in there and a concession stand all on the southern end, kind of in between the football field and Clearview High School. And that's been just beautiful. I was talking to some of the younger players before the game, and they just absolutely love being able to have that facility. And now we've got the Clearview Clippers coming onto the field. I had to get used to this a little bit. It's not the Clippers, it's all black here tonight. It's very interesting. It's beautiful brick uniforms and a beautiful combination. But we're going to see a lot of that gold over there on the other side of the field with John Hay. And of course, we got the Clipper gold as well. So Clippers are going to be in the white helmets with the C on. That's going to make it a little bit easier. But those John Hay Hornets do look a little bit like we send the C Clearview Clippers on. We still got about 2 minutes to go before 7 o'clock at the kickoff. John Hay guys are already on the field with their return guys. And coach is calling them back, saying, not quite ready just yet as the officials get together at midfield out there with their last minute conversation. We do have an officiating crew that's come from quite a while. This is crewed with our white hat tonight, a referee comes all the way from Ashtabula County out to do the game tonight for John Rock, who's the signer for the Lorraine County Debate League. Of course, it's not a conference game, but still a home game by Clearview, so assigned by the Lorraine County League commissioner there that does all their signing. So getting ready for opening kickoff. That's going to be brought to you by Lorraine County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. Appreciate everyone who's been a part of what was done here. And Mike, how's your first couple of weeks done with our new Lorraine County Sports Center?
You know, it's been great. It's been a job for me. I've been a coach for the last 10 years, so it's going to be a little bit different with this headset on.
Good, Andrew? Are you good? Is it fun then?
I get to enjoy myself on Friday night. And it's been fun.
Sorry for too much. Everything was good.
In film exchange before, so it's been
That's good.
We do have fun, don't we? That's for sure. No question about it. All right, so Clearview going to kick off, heading from north to south here, and getting ready to tee it up. Should be Connor Kane. Slightly to give me a number to make sure we get the right guy out there. And also heard that we should see a lot of the kicking game tonight because Clearview's been putting up, almost 40 points a game. So that's going to bring a lot of extra points, getting into scoring positions. But also, John Hay coach was bragging about Coach Desavito, bragging about his kicker and his capabilities. That's something that could come into play because typically, I would tell you that when we have schools from the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, their kicking game can tend to be some of their weakest points. And it's worth mentioning tonight while we're getting ready for kickoff that we actually have 2 Cleveland schools on our broadcast tonight because we're not only having John Hay here in Clearview, but over on WDLW, they're over at Avon, where they're taking on Glenville tonight, which is a huge matchup here in Lorraine County. But we're excited about this one. We'll tell you more about what we've talked about with playoff implications, and we expect to see some high-powered Clearview offense. But before we can get it kicked off, we've got a whistle. Some type of point to the clock. And official resetting. I think that was an official thing. Nothing to do with any of the players. Here we go. Do it back up. And Connor Kane ready to kick this game off for the Clippers. Nice sharp kick, drives back, bounces into the end zone. They're going to have to hold on to it there. No return for John Hay as we get Jacob Davis running back to get that one recovered in time. So John Hay will be starting out at the 25-yard line. First and 10 as they get going. And we're going to hear a lot about Dede Rossi. He's number 17 out there. He's going to be their quarterback out there. You also see number 8, Caleb Moss, as well as that number 3, Jacob Davis, being one of their key guys out there. And then you'll see Aaron Bowling, number 26, getting the ball a lot as well. Oh, isn't it? I'm missing up to not the 20. So that makes that kickoff even more effective for Clearview. Good starting spot for the Clearview defense. See if they can put some pressure on Dede back there. Movement from John Hay, but no flags come out. And the ball's on the floor. It's going to be recovered by a black jersey right away on the first play of the game. Ashton Caban coming up with that one. Not sure who broke it loose as a running back came across the line of scrimmage. Was only going to get about 2 or 3 yards. But the ball squirted loose and Caban all over it. Now they are at the 25. And that is where Clearview will start their drive for that game. I guess it was a good thing we gave you the Clearview offensive lineup to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Just how you brought up as a defensive coordinator. Yeah, trips. Interchange situation. Right side of the field.
Motion left as a shotgun snap comes to Christensen. Looks for a kick out on the right. But just misses connection there on the right sideline. And not exactly the way that Clearview wanted to start off this one. That was Malcolm Lane getting a hand on it. He's going to bring that one in. Not sure he would have been in bounds to begin with as well. Anyway. Only 15 seconds off the clock so far in this game. We've got a lot of action. This time handoff goes off left guard, cuts back in the middle. Third and 6.
Clearview operating under the spread offense. We said Christensen's second year. He started 8 games as a freshman. He's a lot more third year as a sophomore.
They're averaging over 30 passes a game. So that would be one of those plays too. They're looking for John Hay to open up in the middle. It's some running. Third and 6 though. Here's basically almost the same play off the left side. It's about a yard. So now we're ready to bring up a fourth down. Actually going to mark it past the 20, so we'll give them a gain of 2. But it brings up 4th and long. And they are going to go for it. One of those situations where you'd be probably looking at close to a 39, 40-yard field. And here's a pass. That was picked off right off the turf. At about the 20, we pulled out past the 25. I think it was number 25, John Hay, that got his mitts on it. And ends up taking that back. And we got turnovers by both teams to start the game. Not exactly the way either coach drew this one up when they were talking in pregame huddles, but basically on the change of possession, it ends up being a minor win for John Hay as they'll start this drive out at the 27-yard line after their last drive started at the 20. Rossi takes the shotgun snap. And running back gets met immediately in the backfield. It's going to be a loss of 2. Bring up, I'll call it also 1, I guess. 26, second and 11 for John Hay. Early here in the ball game. Second possession for the Hornets. Motion as Rossi takes a shotgun step, hands it off inside. That one's bottled up again. And that was Jordan Stowers to start off with. Getting into the ball carrier. And that one's going to be a no gain, the way the officials are marking it. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and 11.
John Hay trying to go with that jet sweep action, trying to do some of the them to blow it up, second straight play. They've been in the backfield.
Here we go, 3rd and long for John Hay. This time Rossi keeps it, goes around left. He's going to flip it out to the left side, gets a few more yards. Gets knocked out of bounds there by Clearview down to the lane. It takes him out of bounds well before the first down marker. So they will go in a punt formation. Of course, we talked to Coach Desapeta before the game for John Hay, and he bragged about the field goal kicking. See what kind of punter this guy is as well. Low snap. Big rush by Clearview. He kind of scoots it off to the right, almost a rugby-style kick. That's down right at midfield. But the first John Hay cover man down there was bowling. Got his hands on the ball. Wanted to make sure that ball didn't roll backwards. But another good starting spot for the Clearview Clippers offense as they will start this one at midfield. This is one of the things we talked about before the game. Is John Hay's offense is a little limited, and Clearview is definitely taking advantage. They're getting guys in the backfield as soon as the ball gets it up. A lot of pressure. John Hay's defense has been stellar and hasn't only gave up, basically didn't give up any points last week. Here's Christensen, takes the snap, and hands off inside of the ball, goes out the right side, stays on his feet. Nice job of bouncing off the defender. That's going to be a gain of 15 on first down, and that is our first down of the game. 3 to 2. Clearview right to the line. Keep the pressure on. Yeah, the snap is whistles blowing, and the flag comes from the near side judge. For the snap, we got a dead ball foul with motion on the Clearview Clippers. Offense is going to knock him back. Yeah, but that's part of that discipline. You got to have that, right? You got to have everyone set before you ask for the snap. And that's, again, a young quarterback, making sure that everyone's ready to go. But Christensen has done such a remarkable job already his first couple weeks of the season against Pavani inside. My mistake. Gets up top 2 on that one. Marked at the 38-yard line, so we're second and 13 from that spot. Christensen's only thrown the ball one time so far. This time he's going to roll right. He'll be throwing again right, looking downfield. He has a man open right off the 39-yard line. Grabbing up the Russell down out of bounds for another first down. Mark that one right at the 20, so that makes it a gain of 18 on that pass play. And what makes it so hard to defend is it's really basically you have a triple option. You got a short receiver, you've got Cruz dragging across, and of course Christensen can tuck it under and get a few yards on his own too. So first 10 for the Clippers, high snap, but Lorenzana gets the handoff, spins up the middle, gets it out to the 16-yard line, calling a gain of 4. Second and 6 from that spot. More methodical drive by the Clippers. The first one didn't seem like so, almost like they weren't ready to get out there. They got the ball so quickly as John Hayes fumbled on the first snap of the game. This time, a little more methodical. Started at the 50, already a 34-yard drive, and now Lorenzana again gets grabbed around the neck, spins away from that, and John Hay gets help from a couple of guys to bring him down before anything becomes of that. It's going to be a loss. Puts him back at the 19-yard line. So a loss of 3 on that running play. Just as I said, they were methodically moving down, and now they got 3rd and long here. So another key play, but we expect this to be 4-down territory as they're in the red zone. This time, Christensen rolls left, gets pressure as he gets rid of it. Cruz in the back of the end zone. He brings it in. These guys have practiced that one before. I think we've got some yellow down on the field because we've got a referee coming in to talk to one of his officials. And they're talking about the 15, but I think this one's going to be on, illegal man downfield on Clearview. So this one's coming back.
We played.
Throw though, not easy for a right-handed quarterback when it was left.
There's so much old yellow out there between the John Hay uniforms, the soccer markings, the sideline markings, that I didn't even see where the flag was thrown. That was the far side judge that came in and called that penalty. So 5-yard penalty puts it back to the 24.
Everything's good. You look good, baby. You look good.
You're going to see more. Christensen and Cruz just had a great connection. They just know where each other needs to be. And Cruz did an unbelievable job of bringing that one down in the back of the end zone. This time, Christensen, 2 guys in his face right away, gets the ball away, but it hits the turf before it comes out on the right side. And that was intended for Paxton Bond. And now we've got 4th and 14 facing the Clippers. Looks like they're leaving the offense on the field. This will be the 9th play of the drive coming up. Started at the 50-yard line. Basically, the entire game has been played in John Hay territory, except for that one play where the ball was sitting at the 50. We've got 7:10 to go here in this first quarter. Clock stopped on the incomplete pass. Christensen looking left, throwing a deep ball into the corner of the end zone, and it is not. Oh, right there, Juggler, he just spun around and came loose. Unfortunately, that's going to turn the ball over on down by the Clearview Clippers and gets the ball back to the John Hay Hornets. Still no score here. We're almost 5 minutes into the first quarter tonight.
Great play by the John Hay defensive back. Didn't give up on the play. He played all the way through and finished. Do we have anybody make her a chance? They threw a jump ball. Is he out there right now? We'll see what John Hay can come in the second possession.
How about Christensen basically put him in the end zone twice on deep balls? Great catch by Cruz. The second one, Manoble almost was able to spin around and bring that one in. This will be the 3rd possession of the game for John Hay.
15 seconds on the clock. 15 seconds.
Started all 3 possessions within a couple of yards of each other. This time we'll be at the 24.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Mayday Rossi in the shotgun formation. And in motion, I need a whistle here. 2 referees. But then the second referee, I think he was just helping out. So we're going to get a penalty on that one and take it back inside the 20. It'll be placed at the 19-yard line. So being that it's still first down, not where the drive started, but the worst field position of the day for John Hay Hornets. For a team that's offensively challenged, can't really be affording to make those kind of mistakes. In motion before the snap, ball handed up the middle. And there's that big number 50, Jordan Stowers, wrapping him up before he can even get back to the line of scrimmage. Going to be a tackle for a loss by Stowers. Great play. He's been in the backfield more than the John Hay running back so far.
Yeah, good job by Clearview again. Good rotation on defense.
So that's going to bring up 2nd and 16. I like a lot about Rossi. Really you see him keep the ball once, not throwing much. Here's another handoff up the middle, and boy, oh boy, it's just nothing but black jerseys. Almost black jerseys taking the handoff before Hayes running back to get it. Pregame was the primary penetrator on that one. And another loss for John Hay. Knock it back about another yard to 17 and bring up 3rd and 17. Enviable position if you're the black jerseys, because this is exactly what you wanted. They've already been putting pressure and beating the John Hay offensive line. Now you know they're in a passing situation. You can pin your ears back and go after the quarterback, which they do. A quick pass out on the left side. To Glenn, but he doesn't get much yardage. Doesn't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. So we're going to bring up 4th and very long for John Hay again and have to bring out Kirkland to do the punting.
Yeah, like the play call by John Hay. The pressure on top about it.
If you feel you need to zoom in just a little bit, you can if you want to. That's all on you. It's your call.
Noah Nunny back there punting on this one. And he something about the same spot. It's just past the 50. This time it does get a John Hay roll and goes all the way almost to the 30-yard line. So at the 32. Nice punt by Nunny. So we're going to turn the field at least there and give John Hay some rushing, I should say. So Clearview's offense has had it a couple of times. And early first drive stopped on the fourth down interception play. Second drive got some momentum going and some nice throws in the
Try not to get the Clearview sideline by the backs of the players and the helmet. Try not to get that.
So now let's see what they can put together now that they've seen this John Hay
Yeah,
defense a
see
little
if you
bit.
pull the camera up a little bit where you still get the action, but not the sideline over here.
Stay away from those negative plays, too. Penalties or minus-yard plays. That's really good.
That's good. That's good.
Swing. Heavy eagle.
No return. Clearview first down. Run off the right tackle. And we get face mask. Now you get a shoulder pass. Flag comes in. We're on that one at 2:35. So call it a gain of 3. Second and 7 for the Clippers. As they're right to the line of scrimmage. Christensen in that shotgun formation. Takes a snap, he's rolling left, looking left, tosses it out. Has an open receiver, gets past the first down mark. And that was the intended receiver on that fourth down pass out of the end zone on the last series. So those two getting some familiarity early on in the game here as we're down to 4:21. Clock restarts here with the placement of the ball. First and 10 for the Clippers at their own 46.
Hawkeye
Gain of 11 for Toby on that pass play. This time it's lane motions coming back to the screen. That's a block on the outside, but that's all he needs to get some running room. And gets it out to near first down yardage on that play as well. Into John Hay territory across the 45. So they put that on the 45. So get a 9-yard gain and bring up 2nd and 1.
Yeah, interesting. Look here, so quads look from Clearview. No receivers to the side. Look a little straight.
2nd and 1, so it gives you some options on offense if you want it, but the quick handoff goes across to the man in motion, which is curious. He gets tied up right away. John Hay defense. Mayan Redmond made the play on that one, and that's going to be a loss of 4, taking it back to the 49-yard line. So got 3rd and 5 now. And again, Clearview keeping the pressure on offensively. Christensen rolling right. He's got a wide open lane, but he's out of bounds. One of those ones where you see them on Sunday afternoons and you wonder how in the world they keep their feet, knowing where your feet are compared to the sidelines at all times. And that was an instance for Clearview where they were definitely, had the connection there, and Lane had the ball, but just watching that kind of drift in forced him a little bit farther to the right than he wanted to. Falls incomplete, brings up 4th and 5. Christensen can punt though, so let's see what he does here. And he does a short, looks almost like a shotgun formation, but he does get the punt away. And it's a beautiful punt. Takes a bounce backwards, but still going to be inside the 20, inside the 15-yard line. Drops dead. That's a 14. And so that is a 35-yard punt. Now, 35 is impressive enough, but to put him back into the first field position of the game is even more effective. Nice job by Christensen. The guy can do it all, right? $2:50 to go here in the first quarter. Been a lot of action. Still got 2:50 left in this first quarter. No score on the board. Rossi throwing out right, and he's got a receiver who catches a screen pass. When he tries to cut inside, he just dropped the ball. And Clearview does have it. Clearview gets it. And that looks like
How you looking on Barry?
Pretty sure it was Dominic Jackson that had the pressure on the receiver after he caught it that jarred it loose on a second recovery.
How are you looking on battery power, sir?
Flipper way inside
Oh, you're looking on battery power.
He's giving him starting position at the 14-yard line. It'll be a complete
Perfect.
pass with a gain, or no gain, and then a fumble recovered by Clearview.
All right.
See if Clippers can take advantage. This time Christensen under center. Gives it to Lorenzana off the left guard. Fights his way through. Once he gets down, he's circling about that 11-yard line for a gain of 3. Lorenzana definitely the workhorse so far in this game for the Clippers. Seven right here in the first quarter. Christensen under center again. This time it spins out, goes right, throws right. That one. Into the hands of a stripping down by Jackson, rolling out to the right side, and that one again bring in. So it's going to bring up third down from the 11-yard line.
Stay in the middle. Tight ends on this side.
See if Clearview can finish. They've been in this position before.
Hey, strip. Hey, Hawkeye.
Interesting that Christensen under center was first and back in the shotgun formation. Clearview can get a first down inside the 5-yard line. There's a snap, pressure again. Flag comes in from the back judge with the ball thrown over. I think Christensen just being a smart play and getting rid of it because he had two big guys coming right in his face, and now we got to see what the flag is. Came from the umpire. He relays his call to the referee, who's looking around and looking at us.
Oh, it's on us.
Look like the coaches. It's interesting that the flag came from the umpire, and usually those sideline warning flags come from the side judges. It's interesting that it came from that spot. So the first sideline warning to the team is just not a warning. If it happens again, it can be assessed as a personal foul. And I think what happened was the umpire saw players from the John Hay team that were outside the team zone, which ends at the 25-yard line. Put the ball down there at the 11. But this is now fourth down. As the penalty is just a warning. The pass went incomplete. Christensen thrown again to the right side. This time, not a receiver. Not as open as he wanted to be. The defense right behind him was on this big play to help knock the ball loose. And once again, Clearview threatens, but is not going to score, and will give us the ball on downs this time around. And we've got a John Hay player down on the field. So we'll take our first break of the game. Be back here. 1:59 to go. No score. Clearview and John Hay on the Lorain County Sports Network. High school
and as we get rolling on this Friday night, then the Slimans and Amherst pregame show here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We have a few minutes with John Hay, head football coach, Rodney Despacito. Coach, thanks for joining us and giving a few minutes of your time here tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, John.
Now, you've been at John Hay a while. What's kind of the difference in this team that we're seeing this year that you're bringing to the table that maybe you haven't had a chance to experience before?
Well, you know, I think this group is it's really talented, and I feel like really it's more of what I haven't seen since the pandemic, because we were shut down for the 2020 season, obviously, and then in 2021 even. So, you know, to be able to see the program kind of emerge from that has been a real challenge. And so this year, I feel like, we're finally getting back to some normalcy as far as not just our numbers, but, our level of buy-in and commitment. But I will say that, at the quarterback position, I think, Day Ross, our quarterback, he's probably the most talented quarterback we've had since Malik Mitchell in 2012 and 13.
Andrew, how's that better
He's
looking
at
again?
Fair State actually now, but that's a big difference. And also, I like our defense, especially in the middle. George Beard at our Mike backer, he's just a phenomenal player, and he's in on every play basically.
And so let's go back to Day. You mentioned what kind of quarterback is he? Is he running the ball, throwing the deep ball? What's his main?
Just about everything. I mean, he can run.
Still changing
He's an amazing athlete in general. He's a tall kid, about 6'4", and but he can run, and he's athletic. But he's he's a very accurate passer as well. Gets rid of the ball quickly, and just a real talented kid. And he's only a junior, so I'm really excited about that too.
Now, I know nothing about your team coach. Just came out this week, the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings, and John Hay is number 34 in the whole state. You guys might be the smartest team that we're going to be covering this year. How does that play into your preparation, and even does it interfere, because you obviously have a lot of kids that are students first and football second?
Sure. No, we're really blessed that being a magnet school where students have to interview and apply to get in, and their academic standards, it basically is a reflection of these students' parents or the adults in their lives. And so when you have support, even just one highly supportive parent, it makes things a little bit easier, especially in the classroom, but just getting the practice, keeping students accountable, and just overall, even attendance at games. I know in the city of Cleveland, a lot of times we'll have afternoon games, and the stands aren't very full. But we know we can count on a number of our parents just, either taking time off of work or rearranging their schedule so they can support their, the children playing football. So we're grateful for that. And, these students are also very coachable and quick to learn and pick up things too. So that's always been, a nice thing to have.
You're coming off a nail biter.
Lane timed that perfectly to take that ball forward. And again, line of scrimmage was to 9. And Lane brings it all the way back for Clearview to start this possession at their 16-yard line, 13 seconds to go in the scoreless first quarter. Clearview has just been knocking on the door all day and not been able to put that in. I got to give a lot of the credit to the John Hay defense, though, because we've seen some good execution, and Aiden Cruz had an unbelievable pass catch in the back of the end zone that got called back by penalty. This time Christensen takes the shotgun snap, immediately hands it off, working up the middle, and then moving out to the right side is Ashton Bond. Gets the ball down to about the 12-yard line. Ends the first quarter here in Shelby Township. No score. John Hay will be back. The Clearview's knocking on the door and looking to score here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Highlight for football here tonight, Lorraine County. John Mitchell, Rusher on the Lorraine County Sports Network. Happy to have you along. Almost exactly 30 minutes to get that first quarter played in there. And now we've got Clearview. Their fifth possession of the game. Neither team has been able to score so far. This is Clearview's best opportunity here. Second down. Richardson hands it off, and he got some running room too. End zone, and great blocking on the right side of the Clearview line on that time. Morgan's on to pick the right spots to cut it back and get it into the end zone. 6 seconds into the second quarter, Clearview gets the score. Now going for the extra point, and that one is up and good. Our friends at I-90 with that touchdown donate another $5 if they do every touchdown this year on the Lorraine County Sports Network to the United Way of Lorraine County. Appreciate them. And we'll be right
Are you
back.
kidding me?
Now they get their sixth possession of the game right after this on the Lorraine County Sports Network. Clearview Clippers been breathing down the John Hay necks of their defense this entire first quarter, but it takes them 6 seconds into the second quarter before they can put points on the board. It gives them a 7-0 lead here as they're ready to kick off towards the north. This is Connor Kane, got it teed up. Left foots it. Great kick again. This time drives back inside the 15. John Hayes able to catch this on the run and get across the 25-yard line. That was lost again. They anticipated it being one of their main plays. We haven't seen like a lot of Day-Day Rossi taking the ball himself. He talked about his athleticism and the whole thing when he makes those corners.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that you're going to see here. But so I would expect to see that. A
13-yard return for Moss. First kickoff, if you're just joining us, they mishandled that into the end zone. So we get a little better starting position here. That's Day-Day Rossi dropping back. A quick slant in, looking for Moss. But it was a little too quick on the release of that one. Athleticism, but he's an underclassman as well. So maybe just rush that one a little bit, looking for that slant. But been black jerseys in the backfield of John Hay all game. So for Rossi, you kind of can't blame him here early on of trying to get rid of that ball as fast as he can. 2nd and 10. John Hay still at their own 26-yard line. This time Moss in motion. He gets the handoff in front of Rossi, cuts it back in over the left tackle, left it forward to about the 29-yard line. On that one, so that'll bring up another 3rd and long for the Hornets offense. Trying to convert here. John Hay taking a little page out of the Clearview offense and getting right to the line. To keep the pressure on it there. He shifts his running back over to his left side, takes a shotgun snap, and a quick slant this time to the left side. And that one is incomplete after Jacob Davis over there. Going to bring up 4th and long and bring out the John Hay punt team again with 11:07 left in this first quarter. We're at the brand new top here. Beautifully redone over the last couple of seasons. A couple games in last year, but the first full season playing on this facility. We're happy to be here and be a part of it. Now this time, we're back to Kirkman being the punter. Nunny punted last time. A lot of pressure, but he does get the ball away and kicks it away from Lane. He's watching it bounce, and he's going to have to let that one go as it bounces into Clearview territory and down at about the 37-yard line. Start their sixth offensive possession of the game. Six possessions, so even the second half.
Every time you kind of look at it, defense making plays, sometimes the offense is cluttered. Capitalize on that last possession, see if they found a rhythm.
And we have seen some good punting. That was a 34-yard punt with no return. And Clearview starting at their 37-yard line. This starting at 32. They've had really good field position the entire game. A little loop around Christensen in motion and taking the flare out pass to the left side. And not much doing there for Ethan Lorenzano. He's been lining up in the backfield. Most of the game has been the weakness of the Clearview offense. That time he lined up in a slot. I'm not sure. There's got to be a name for this particular motion. I'm not sure what it is.
Try to get less of a visiting stance if you can, please. Try to get less of the visiting stance, please.
10 for Clearview, still from the 37-yard line.
Perfect.
Christensen takes the snap, rolls right, and pressure again immediately, but gets the ball away and finds it over the ball. And the ball's on the ground, and I'm not sure who's going to have it. Pass was completed to Dominic Jackson, but the Hornets are going to recover this one up, and that is going to be Noah Nunny, who's also the backup quarterback, one of the defensive backs, makes the recovery, but you got to get a lot of the credit to Antoine Harvey for John Hay. He put pressure on Christensen just to get the ball away and signed it a wonderful job of getting it to his receiver. But kind of that play was a scramble from the beginning because of that. And now John Hay's going to have their best field position of the day. As I guess with no return and starting at the 46-yard line, we're going to call that a pass play of 9 with a fumble and recovery by John Hay. Jay Rossi rolling right, has time this time, and he finds an open receiver inside the 40 and slides his way down the Clearview sideline inside the 30. Jacob Davis gets it all the way down to 25, and I'm looking at my chart. I know it's the first down that John Hay has had this game. I was one earlier to check that back. There's Rossi again rolling left. This time he's over the line of scrimmage and gets the ball away. I don't see a flag just yet, as the ball is caught by Moss and gets inside the 10-yard line. Yeah, now he should be flagged down at the 24. He was clearly over the line of scrimmage. That's going to be an illegal forward pass. That one's going to bring brought back. It's a really nice play. Rossi buying time with athleticism that Coach Dustin kind of talked about in the coach's corner before the game, but waited a little too long to release that one, waiting for Moss to get open. So bring it back to the 30. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty. Now this one should be close enough. So it will be second and 15. Well, that one, he got it down inside the 10-yard line, but he did get away to Moss, but he had room to run still from there. Might even have picked up the first down himself with his athleticism. This time he's looking right, not open. This time he does keep it. Kind of gives up on that dive forward, maybe a little bit early. Gets down close to the 25-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 4 at the 26. It's going to bring up a third down. Long 11, we'll go back to the 27, so just a gain of 3 for Rossi on that way. And Coach Tessapayas is 9-16 on the first half. Let's take this time out for the Hornets and see what they can do when we come back on the Lorain County Sports Network. Again, 3rd and 12 for the John A. Hornets. As Clearview's up 7-0 here with 9:16 to go in the first half. And the Hornets looking to try to convert here. We do know they have a good field goal kicker. I don't know if this is within his range or not. Let's see what that's going to do on this third down play. Quick pass out right, and that's going to be better chance of being caught by Clearview Clipper, and it is. And it goes into the end zone, but bringing it back out. Past the 30 and up to the 32. With Ashton Noble. And he, of course, was trying to shoot it for the offense. So since the ball was in the air, he had the best receiver. He was going to grab that one. Grabbed it about the 2 as momentum carried him into the end zone. He gets about a 28-yard return, taking it out to the Clipper 30-yard line to start this drive with 9:05 to go. Oh. Seeing the capabilities of Rossi, the quarterback for John Hay, we're also kind of seeing some mistakes on each one. Nice, good arm on that one, but not good direction. Now this is Cy Christensen taking the snap and handing it off to Lorenzana. Fights his way up the middle and then finds some daylight off the right tackle side. Gets about to the 33-yard line. 33. Lorenzana has certainly been the workhorse already in the double-digit touches already in this game. Right? We haven't seen the Ohio Cy Christensen that much. He has thrown average over 30 throws a game. This time he's throwing, but he gets that straight. John A. steps aside and buys some time, gets back almost to the line of scrimmage before he's brought down. That is going to be a loss. I think that's a play because they mark it at the 32, it's a sack. They mark it at the 33, it's a no-game run. But it is the first sack of the game for the John Hay Hornets. That's going to bring up 3rd and 8 now. Both interior defenses have been winning the line of scrimmage, which is interesting because so many guys go both ways. There's Christensen, a 3rd and long. Has some time this time, tossing it up on the left side. Out of the reach of Dominic Jackson. Ball hits the turf. It's going to bring down 4th and 8, and that's going to bring out the punting for the Clippers. 7:57 to go. So that brings Connor Kane back out of the field. He's shooting the game at his 20 to receive the snap. Ball's up at 32. So let's see what he can do with this one. He has plenty of time. Left-footed, gets it away. Good hand time, but right to the John A. receiver who gets it about the 40 and brings it into Clearview territory. Jacob Davis again. Grab and go. Don't hesitate. Get the ball heading south. We've seen both teams be able to do that successfully. It's a good starting position for the John Hay offense. I'll put the ball down at the Clearview 44. 7:46 to go in this first half. We got Dane Rossi, the quarterback, takes the shotgun snap. Tried to look right, but then got some pressure. Shirked the first guy. But it was too much pressure there. Grego Hunter was first and down, and Isaac DeAndrea wrapped him up and held on to a good right for Grego. Sacks, a sack, and a loss of 4 on that one. Takes it back to the 48-yard line. Gotta love what's happening with the Clearview front 4 there. They have been just shooting gaps the whole game. John Hayes not been able to adjust, and Dane Rossi's paid the price for that. Second and beyond the sticks again for the John Hay offense. Rossi loses the ball as he tries to go forward with it. Now he's on the cover. And Rossi was trying to looked like he was pump faking and trying to bring the ball back in and just dropped it out of his hands. Longo heads up play, has eyes on the ball, gets a 3rd fumble recovery of this game already for the Clippers defense, and great starting position again for Clearview.
Hey, switch. Hey, put them on the side.
7-0 Clearview, 6:56 to go in this first half. I'm running a little on a drive chart because we have just had a ton of drives so far in this one. And another drive starting in John Hay territory. Christian makes a snap, hands off right inside. It's snapped up immediately at the line of scrimmage. And that's Ashton Hamad. They made the change a little bit. They're going to give him a gain of 1. From 34 and bring up second and 9. Those rare instances, you have to look up when the clock's actually running. Clearview back to the line of scrimmage right away. Lorenzana in motion and takes the little snap, the foot forward. 25, maybe about another yard, if that. Lorenzana probably did get about 6 to 8 inches on that one, but it's just shy of the 34. Now it's right at 34, so we call it no gain and brings up 3rd and 9. Christensen this time with a roll left. It's a pressure in his face by Rossi. He's running against the ball as he's hit, but he catches his own bobble as he's brought down for another sack. John Hay Hornets.
Hey, put them on the right side. Put them on the right side.
Like that, 3 receivers to the side. Oftentimes, roll to it.
Hey. So black.
Brings up 4th and 12. Clearview keeping the offense on the field. Christensen takes the shotgun snap. Looking, has time, running out of time. Harvey gets in his face. This time he unloads on the right side. And the ball is knocked up in the air by David Rossi. I believe it's either way, the ball falls in the turf inside the 10-yard line, and that's going to be Clearview's giving it by bounds yet again. The ball was intended for Jenkins out there. 5:16 to go. John Hay has another short possession. Given up on downs. We've had a number of punts, just one score so far. Clearview did convert the extra point, and that's why we're at 7-0 here in Sheffield Township. 5:16 as the clock says on this one. Drive starts from the 37 of the John Hay Hornets. Rossi brings Moss in motion, takes the snap. He tries to go left, but his pressure in his face right away. Tries to adjust. Now with his speed, gets outside. Gets a first down and into territory. One of the better plays for John Hay's offense this entire game. This is what we talked about earlier. Just keep the ball and see what he can create. Yeah, definitely looked like it got blown up right away on the right side. Clearview defensive pressure was coming in immediately, and I believe that was again Greg O'Hearn. They got the push off the line and made Rossi make an adjustment. That time he does make that adjustment and gets himself into Clearview territory. This time he's rolling right. He's looking to keep it in. And as he's waiting for his block, a great job of waiting for his block. And as he cuts back inside, Aiden Cruz wraps him up around the 8 and brings him down. Another very good play for the Hornets. That's a gain of 7. Brings up 2nd and 3. Rossi handed the ball off immediately a lot. Rossi seemed to be a little hesitant to run the ball. That time is definitely a designed rollout run by the quarterback to keep it. He did a nice job waiting for it. 2nd and 3. 4:28 to go in this first half. That is an interesting lineup. Again, they were looking for a keeper, and it looked like they had the running back right behind them. Cochran Ray was going to give him a push. Very awkward looking play.
keep everybody together. Both flags might be after the, both be dead ball. They're going to have to sort this one out because for John Hay, that was their big Sebastian Fernandez, who's 6 foot 320. And I believe he was holding on that play and wouldn't let go. And then when he kind of got the flag, he decided to push a little bit on Anthony Ruiz, and Anthony did not care for that at all. And I believe the second flag, it might be on Ruiz, but there was a second John Hay player that came towards the Clearview Clippers group. So they might be throwing the flag on both of them on John Hay because of that, because there's no reason for a John Hay player to be approaching the Clippers at that point. Of course, we can't hear what words may or may not have been exchanged between players, as the group of 5 officials is meeting pretty much right at midfield to sort this one out. And usually, if it takes this much conversation, again, there's going to be conversations about the first penalty probably was a live ball hold, is what I believe. The second penalty was definitely a dead ball. But if they determine that the first penalty was dead ball, then that has a lot of effect on how penalties are assessed and then marked off. So we've got 3:49 left, and obviously the clock stopped as they sort this one out. Both teams have gone to their respective numbers on the field to meet with their coaches, take advantage of the stoppage in play to have basically a free timeout for the coaches to get on the field and tell the players what they want next. But of course, you need to know what is next. So the result of the play was a first down for John Hay, and that put the ball down at the 37. So if that stands, it'd be a 3-yard gain, and it'd be 1st and 10 for John Hay. But there's no question that that is going to stand, as we kind of just got a lull in the crowd, and then you just kind of quieted down here, just waiting for the officials to still sort this one out.
Yeah, definitely a lot to sort out, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to let your emotions get the best of you here. It's a tight ball game. Obviously, emotions do run high, but you have to be able to control yourself.
Well, you can talk about high school sports, and you guys come out here and they work their butts off. They go to meetings, they study, they know the rule book. But the bottom line is those 5 guys out there probably at 4 o'clock this afternoon were doing something very different than high school football officiating to pay their bills. And now they got to make sure they take the time and think this one through to get it right. As I mentioned, we got our crew chief here, comes all the way from Ashtabula for this game. And so we're still waiting for an indication. First thing I was told when I approached the officials pregame was one of the crew members comes and says, "Don't think you're going to put a microphone on that guy." There's an old school white hat out there as the referee for this crew. And I said, no. I said, I'll be doing everything on the microphone today, but just give us good signals so we know exactly what we're trying to do. So ball's still sitting at the 37, hasn't been moved. Now we get an indication. So dead ball, personal foul. So that first foul is on Clearview. And then we end up with offsetting. Now we had 3 indications. So we had personal fouls on each one, but then he indicated unsportsmanlike. And the unsportsmanlike is also on Clearview. So it looks like we're going to have 2 fouls on Clearview, 1 foul on John Hay, all of them dead ball fouls. So they're going to take that play at the 37, which would be a first down, and then they're going to add yardage to that and take this ball another 15 all the way down to the 22. So the personal fouls offsetting the unsportsmanlike conduct 15-yard penalty then is added to the end of the play and ends up being a huge, huge penalty against the Clippers as it takes it down to the 22-yard line. 1st and 10, John Hay, as we get back out here. Again, 3:49 to go. Clearview still with a 7-0 lead. This is one of those plays and the stoppage and the result of what happened where either guys kind of lose their momentum or they gird in a little bit and come up with a bigger play. So we'll see how the Clippers react to getting the short end of the stick on these penalty assessments as we get the ball set to play here from the Clearview 22. Best field position of the day for the John Hay Hornets. Rossi takes the ball and rolls right, looking right, has a receiver open, catches the ball, and thankfully we got a couple of 11s out there. Thankfully, Malcolm Lane held on by the ankles to the receiver for the John Hay Hornets because he needed help to bring him down, and that was Lazarus Barber who makes the catch. Another first down inside the 10 We're down now at the 8-yard line for John Hay as they're right back at it. And Rossi keeping this one, looking for some opening, though, not getting much. Stays on his feet and gets it almost to the 5-yard line. So ever since Rossi started kind of taking the ball over and doing some running, they've gotten a lot of confidence for John Hay, but I also think it's caused a little confusion on Clearview because they were having such great success with just shooting the gaps and getting pressure in the backfield. And now John Hay's found a way to get outside that pressure, and that puts the ball down at the 6-yard line. What'll be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, Rossi on the move, giving him these options to run has been a huge adjustment.
We're going to take a timeout here. 3:12 to go in the first half. Clearview up 7-0 with John Hay knocking on the door. Stay tuned on the Lorain County Sports Network. All right, second time out of the first half for the John Hay Hornets as they are well into the I-90 Nissan red zone. I-90 Nissan. The I-90 Nissan will make a $5 donation to the United Way of Greater Lorain County for every score, that is, every touchdown that is scored during this entire season on the Lorain County Sports Network, as well as with our friends with WOBL and WDLW putting this all together. So we have 3 games for you tonight as WDLW is at Avon, and you can hear Avon taking on Glenville on that channel. And of course, WOBL will be having a lot of Clearview, and once league play starts in the Lorain County League, you can count on WOBL, basically the official partner of the Lorain County League, and they'll be doing the Clearview games tonight. They're over at Midview as Elyria Catholic is taking on the Middies in Grafton. Here we go, 2nd and goal from the 6. John Hay back at the line of scrimmage. 3:12 to go in this first half. Rossi takes a shotgun snap, try to move a little bit left. This looks like a keeper again. He gets inside the 5 and dives forward, but too much pressure there from the black jerseys of the Clearview Clippers defense keeps him from getting any farther than that. And I believe that was Ethan Lorenzana that kind of made him cut in and then took his feet away. Gets it down to the 2-yard line, and it is still goal to go. And this time, Rossi keeping it, pitches it out on the right side at the last minute. That is definitely not in the playbook. And great reaction from the Clippers defense to keep that from going any further as Rossi was stacked up. And then all of a sudden, Caleb Moss standing off to his right takes the pitch, and he didn't get anything out of that. So we're still inside the 3-yard line with goal to go and 4th down coming up as John Hay takes their 3rd and final timeout of this half. We'll keep it right here. I've never had a game where I've run out of drive chart room in the first half like that before. We had a lot of possessions here.
Yeah, crazy game, as you said. A lot of possessions, not a lot of points. Kind of depends on how you look at it. A lot of good plays on defense, some sloppiness offensively. Obviously, biggest play of the game coming up right here. I want to know what John Hay is going to come to. Are they going to go with Rossi kind of more between the tackles, or are they going to get him out on the edge? They've had success on the edge here. We'll see what they do. And Clearview's defense, you got to try to stand up and get a stop as you go into halftime here.
Yeah, and you look for someone, the ends for Clearview have done a great job of putting pressure on, because Rossi, with his height and his athleticism, you roll him out to one side or the other, and you kind of have that triple option where he's going to throw the back of the end zone, somebody short who's trying to get in, or just keep it himself. And it makes the Clearview defense be definitely on their toes here as they're trying to continue their shutout as they've done so far here in the first half. This is the 9th play of this drive, which makes it the longest drive of this entire first half. Started back at 5:16 to go, and even longer because of the delay we had sorting out the penalties. Rossi has Moss going in motion again left. He takes the snap, drops straight back. He's looking for Moss on the left side, and he's all by himself. Nobody picked him up coming out of the motion. He catches the 2-yard pass for a touchdown and makes the score Clearview 7, John Hay 6 with 2:27 to go here before halftime, and the extra point still to come. Payson Kirkland is number 16 for John Hay, and his coach raved about his abilities before the game. So we know they have a lot of confidence in their extra point team, but Rossi is the holder, so if they ever wanted to have a fake and go for two, he's the guy to do it with, but Rossi puts it down, and the kick is blocked. I think it was Aiden Cruz who was in there first and got a hand on it, but the kick was pretty low, and it keeps Clearview in the lead, 7-6. We got 2:27 to go before halftime, and we'll be back here in Sheffield Township right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Clearview as the John Hay Hornets have scored a touchdown but missed the extra point, so Clearview maintains the lead 7-6. I mentioned over on WDLW we've got action there, a big one with Avon taking on Glenville, right, Mike?
Yeah, not only a big game in Lorain County, one of the biggest games in the state, and at the half it's Avon 14, Glenville 8.
And that game's already at half. We still got 2:27 to go with a ton of possessions in this one, and Clearview's about to get another one here. Game started with John Hay taking the opening kickoff and then fumbling on the very first play. We've been back and forth ever since. And now we've got Payson Kirkland with a little shorter kick, and it's picked up at about the 16-yard line and running off to the left side and towards the Clearview bench, getting knocked out of bounds as he crosses the 30-yard line is Malcolm Lane for the Clippers. Again, nice return for the Clippers, and I see the referees looking. Yeah, we got Laundry down about the 35-yard line, right towards the middle of the field. Play came all the way to the Clearview bench. The flag is at the opposite hash mark, and we're looking for some type of indication here. And now we're getting it. We got a hold on the return on the Clippers. Another penalty on Clearview. So this will be a spot of the foul penalty. Interesting that the flag was that far away from the play when it was the end, also the end of the play. The end of the return was going out of bounds just shy of the 35. Flag came down at the 35. So that's going to mean starting position for the Clippers on this drive with 2:21 to go in the game, in the first half. And they're going to put the ball down. Did they put the ball down yet? I believe it's going to be the 25, but waiting for that was the kicking ball from John Hayes. Now we got the offensive ball from Clearview out there, and they're going to put it down at the 23-yard line.
We'll see Clearview operate with this kind of 2-minute offense too, something that they're not uncomfortable doing with the pace that they can play at. They do have 3 timeouts, so we'll see. Got to be smart too, of course. You don't want to give the ball up.
This was the time when I was the sideline reporter. I go through the referees and how's the flag at the 35 and the ball's placed for play at the 23? I didn't understand that assessment, but here we go. Christensen with a quick handoff up the middle, picking his way through and doing a nice job of keeping on his feet and getting all the way out to the 30-yard line is Ashton Pabon. Takes it to the 30. Clock running here with 2:03 to go before halftime. Plenty of time for an offense like Clearview, but you got to give the hats off to John Hay because for both weeks, Clearview scoring almost 40 points a game and just has the one score so far. Christensen takes it and hands it off again. This time Pabon gets shoved forward. Ball apparently came loose, a far side on the numbers, and the Hornets have it and try to return it. Get it all the way to the 31-yard line, as this has been just a ton of fumbles in this game. And that's going to be great starting position for John Hay. Do remember they don't have any timeouts left, but they've got 1:42 on the clock. And the ball at the Clearview 31-yard line to start this drive.
Yeah, just what we talked about. You don't want to give the ball up in that situation. You want to be smart, but here we go with John Hay and another possession.
It's Rossi taking a snap as Moss goes in motion. He goes opposite way, now picking and looking for some running room of his own, and he's got it. And he's got even more up the middle, and he's still on his feet down to the 10-yard line. First down's going to stop the clock for John Hay till the ball is placed. Great run by Rossi. They're going to mark that ball at the 12, I believe, so a gain of 19 and a first down for John Hay. 1:28 clock is running again here, 1st and 10. John Hay, of course, can get a first down before getting in the end zone if that is the way it works out. But eyes on the clock as well because the Hornets are out of timeouts. Moss in motion again going to the left. Rossi takes a shotgun snap. It goes right. Again, looking like he's just looking to keep it the entire way. And Josiah Longo, who's already recovered a fumble of his own today, is there to meet him and bring him down for not only a loss, but clock continues to run under a minute now as it takes the Hornets back to the 16-yard line. Great sack by Josiah Longo. Big play. Not only want to keep the Hornets out of the end zone, but if you can push them back. I think we've been told they have a good kicking game, but they missed their extra point off their touchdown. And now they're got a lot of time going off as we're down to 35, 34 seconds to go in the first half. 2nd and 14 as Rossi takes the shotgun snap, looks left, throws it way over everybody's head and out of bounds. It'll stop the clock and bring up 3rd down for the Hornets with 24 ticks left on the clock in this first half.
Yeah, the John Hay kicker was coming onto the field early. It's only 3rd down, though. They've got more time for one more play, see if they can get closer or see if they can maybe pick up this first down.
Well, you're right. It's just really one more play, but you probably have to do a pass play and get out of bounds because if you put that ball down and try to get a kicking team out there, you'd really be pushing it on 24 seconds. So we'll see what happens here, what Coach Desapeta calls for the John Hay Hornets on this one. Is that 2 receivers split both sides. Rossi, shotgun gets an open receiver right away and is down about the 5-yard line. It's short of the first down, so it's going to be 4th down. Clock running with 15 seconds, 14, 13. Trying to get their field goal kicker on the field. This will be a dual makeable field goal, but I don't know that they're going to get the snap off. 5 seconds to go in the first half. 3, 2, 1. Snap is out, and now a flag, and I think we're going to get a penalty. They'll take the penalty. They'll take the penalty because they have confidence in their kicker. If they get a 5-yard penalty on this and have to move it back because they didn't have guys set, that's a small price to pay to get an extra timeout back, basically, for John Hay. They'll pay for that with 5 yards. Ball is placed for play at the 6. So they're waving off the flag. But the clock was running when the flag was thrown in blue. So even though the interesting, yeah, because the clock was running, the flag was thrown. Now Coach Desapeta is coming out on the field to get an explanation of this one because the whistle clearly blew and the flag was thrown with 2 seconds to go, which should have stopped the clock at 2. But if you wave off the penalty, it doesn't change the fact that you've stopped the clock. So I'm going deep into the rule book on this one to find out. I've not seen that. I've not seen that mechanic from the official where he held the ball up and waved it to the sideline to indicate that time was out. But after Coach Desapeta got his explanation, he went back to the sideline, and the Clippers are heading to the locker room, and John Hay will be following them as well, as we have officially apparently reached halftime. Officials still discussing it out on the field about the 5-yard line, so we're going to keep it here. The clock for halftime has not started yet. Our score is Clearview 7 and John Hay 6. And Mike Rush, as long as you've been around sports, every time you see something new, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy half, crazy sequence there. Kind of summed up that first half. Still not sure what happened.
Well, what's interesting now is there's a 5-man crew out here for the officials. 4 of them are at the 5-yard line discussing this. The referee, the white hat, is way back almost to the 20 and keeping his distance from the rest of his crew. So usually they would just go to the locker room as soon as the teams go to the locker room, but Clearview's already basically almost got their entire team in their locker room, and John Hay's heading to the school for their locker room. The officials are still discussing, but the referee is not discussing that with his crew, so I'm not sure what's happening, but for so much action in that first half, so many possessions by both teams that only have a 7-6 score really brings it wide open for what the second half could be, because we expected even more out of the Clearview offense after their output they've had the first 2 weeks, especially from their passing game. And then we've got John Hay starting to find their offense as they got through that second quarter.
Yeah, definitely a lot of sloppy play, and we'll see if that gets cleaned up here in the second half.
So the 20-minute clock for halftime is running, and both teams have made it to the locker room. And so we're going to take a break ourselves here. But stay tuned, because who knows what's going to happen next, as we're at Clearview High School as the Clippers have a very narrow 7-6 lead over the John Hay Hornets. And make sure you come back and join us for the second half coming up in about 20 minutes here on the Lorain County Sports Network. But we'll be back in just a little bit with first half stats and a little analysis of what's happened so far tonight. So stay with us. And I know we're in Sheffield Township because not only can I see the Sheffield Township Fire Department Rescue Squad at station where they always are for football games, but I can actually see the Sheffield Township Fire Station from right here as we are at the brand new, revamped, however you want to call it, still Tom Hope Field here at Clearview High School, where we've got a nail-biter as the Clearview Clippers, who've been averaging 38 or so points a game in these first 2 weeks, just 7 in the first half of this one. And John Hay Hornets really found their offense in the second quarter and converted one score and were knocking on the door as time ran out on them in the second quarter. They did miss their extra point, though, off their one scoring drive, as both our scores came in the second quarter, and that leaves our score 7-6 as we get ready for the second half here. And Mike Rush, the quick observations of what stood out to you in the first half.
Yeah, as we kind of discussed throughout the first half, some sloppy play, a lot of turnovers, a lot of possession changes. Both teams kind of just trying to find their footing, trying to make adjustments as we go. You know, you got to give John Hay a ton of credit for that defense continuing to battle until their offense could kind of find their footing. And if you're Clearview, you know, you got to step it up a little bit. You're averaging a lot of points, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. So you got to find that rhythm and find those explosive plays.
And the other thing they got to do is find the football sometimes, because you always say that coaches look to set the tone early, and I guess we should have known from the very opening kickoff what was happening in this game, because the opening kickoff from Connor Kane went through the hands of the John Hay receiver and was picked up, and then on the very first play of the game, John Hay fumbled. Clearview got the fumble recovery. We've had a total of 5 fumble recoveries in the first half. 3 fumbles by John Hay lost to the Clippers, and then 2 very key fumbles lost by the Clippers that John Hay picked up. And then we had we had no score at the end of the first quarter, but Clearview had started to drive right at the end of the first quarter that took them deep into John Hay territory, and then was able to convert on a 12-yard touchdown run by Lorenzana. And Kane came in and made the kick, made it 7-0, and we stood that way until John Hay got the ball back with 5:16 to go in the first half and had the longest, most sustained drive of that first half. But what happened in the middle of the drive was most significant, because John Hay was about to looking to convert a 3rd and 3, and they did. They got the ball up to the 37-yard line, which would have been a first down. And then we had probably a good 4 or 5 minute delay while the officials sorted through a bunch of laundry that was on the field. And at the end of the discussion, we had not 1, not 2, but 3 dead ball fouls. And because 2 of those were against the Clearview Clippers, ball got not only a first down for John Hay, but the ball got moved down to the 22, and John Hay was able to continue on and make their only scoring drive of the game, as they were able to complete a quick 2-yard pass to Moss from Rossi. But Aiden Cruz for Clearview came in and blocked the extra point, and that's where we keep our score with Clearview 7 and John Hay 6. And then right before the half, as we had to go to page 2 of my drive chart, which never happens, because we had 19 possessions in the first half, 10 by John Hay, 9 by the Clearview Clippers. That 10th one by John Hay was the result of a fumble by the Clippers that gave John Hay the ball at the Clipper 31-yard line. They got it all the way down inside the 10 and were looking to score, but as they were lining up for a field goal, they just could not get the ball off. But then we had another kind of interesting end to the half, because a flag flew and the whistle clearly blew before the clock had reached 0, and it came from the back judge, which normally is either a formation or, couldn't have been it definitely was not a delay of game at that point, because there was 24 seconds left when the Hornets had completed their last play and the clock running. But then the flag was waved off, and it was determined that the clock would have expired. So they did not give John Hay a chance to reset and resnap, and that's where the half ended, and that's where our score is. 7-6, Clearview up. We got a little over 9 minutes to go before this second half gets started. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we are going to have some first half stats, and we're bringing over a feature from the radio side of things. If you're not aware, the Lorain County Sports Network is a service of the WOBL and WDLW Sports Department and our radio partners during their own games tonight. But we're here at Clearview, and we will come back and rate the dog as you're listening to the I-90 Nissan halftime show here on the Lorain County Sports Network. on the Lorain County Sports Network. Happy to have you along our third week of our inaugural season, and we've had nothing but excitement the first 3 weeks. Last week the score wasn't so great over in Elyria, but we got a chance to see one of the top quarterbacks in the whole state when Perkins is Logan Lesh. First week we had a nail-biter from Oberlin well into the second half as Oberlin was searching for their first win in a while, and unfortunately weren't able to get to that one. But man, we have nothing but excitement, and happy to have you along here. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. And as we go through some of the scores tonight, too, we want to invite you to make sure, after the game, you can tune in to either WOBL or WDLW. And Dave Rivera and Maria Janasco will have all the scores and highlights and interviews. It's the most complete post-game show you're going to hear anywhere, probably, and I would venture to say the state of Ohio, as we'll cover the entire county. So make sure you listen to that, but happy to have you stay in tune with us here. As I know, we checked some of the scores at halftime. Lorraine's struggling a little bit with Sandusky, which we saw Sandusky a couple weeks ago here on this field, scrimmaging against Clearview. And Avon's up on Glenville. Avon Lake's trailing a little bit against Chardon. And Midview's having their way with Elyria Catholic so far tonight, too. So Elyria's in a close one. And a lot of good games going on. Black River's got the lead on their game. And next week, by the way, I want to make sure you know, we will be going over to Firelands High School. And that should be a really good one, with Columbia coming out to Henrietta Township. And we'll be back on our YouTube channel. Again, 6:30 is our pregame show, and kickoff scheduled at 7 o'clock. So please make sure you join us for that one. Here tonight, Clearview 7 and John Hay 6. And my partner and friend Mike Rush has some statistical highlights from us from the first half. What do you got?
Yeah, some individual stats in the first half for Clearview. Cy Christensen, the sophomore quarterback, he's had a tough night so far. 7 out of 18 for 45 yards. Ethan Lorenzana, he's been kind of the workhorse out of the backfield. 8 carries for 30 yards. He's got the rushing touchdown. Paban also 5 carries for 15. Aiden Cruz, the big target for Clearview, he's got 2 catches for 13 yards, and Lorenzana 3 catches for 12 yards. For John Hay, it's kind of been the Day Rosser show. Once we talked about, John and I talked about in that second quarter, he kind of got going, and he's kind of been the bulk of their offense. He's got 11 carries for 39 yards. A lot of that unscripted, him kind of running around on the edge, kind of that run-pass option that we talked about. And he's 7 out of 12 in the air for 43 yards. Really the bulk of their offense in that first half.
Now let's go back and talk a little bit more about that Clearview offense, some of the stats you're talking about. Because beginning of the game, we saw a lot of Lorenzana in a lot of rushes from Clearview. And then as they started opening up, I'm surprised that you said that there was 18 attempts at passing attempts in the first half is what it ended up being, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. They, found it a little hard running in between the tackles, so they tried to air it out a little bit, and we'll see what their approach is in the second half. So,
and the bulk of those coming in the second quarter, and we talked about it before, because in the first quarter, when they weren't throwing it that much, we talked about how coming into the night's game, the first 2 weeks, Christensen was averaging over 30 pass attempts a game, and over 200 yards, almost 250-some yards a game, averaging passing-wise. So with the 18 attempts, he's well on his way, actually has more attempts on average than what we've seen so far. But the yardage, just not there yet. But we have seen some glimmers of that, with Aiden Cruz made a tremendous catch in the back of the end zone. But that ball was called back because of a penalty, and the drive ended up being no points for Clearview on that one as well. So lots of things they need to work on, but got to give hats off to the John Hay defense, because we've seen what they did last week, virtually tossing a shutout against Cleveland Central Catholic, who has already put up about 20-some points in the first half of their game today as well, too. So Central Catholic is offense shut down last week, and this week the John Hay defense is doing a lot to get in the face. And the Clearview defense was doing a good job of shooting gaps and getting in the backfield as well. But once Rossi got that one, remember he had the one pass, he rolled out to the left, and he actually went across the line of scrimmage, and that ball got called back. But once he realized that he can get out in the open and run, and he got some successful runs, there's been a lot of play calls that were quarterback keeps, whether up the middle or around the end, and we expect to see more of Rosser handling the ball in the second half, because that was something that they didn't do in the first quarter of that first half. So we'll see what happens with that. 7-6 right here, as we got both teams already back on the field, so we're expecting to go in a couple of minutes. We're going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, not only the second half of this very exciting close football game, but we're going to rate the dog right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. We're about ready to go here for the second half. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush, and we've got Clearview and John Hay, with Clearview set to receive the ball in the second half as they won the toss and deferred. So they will start the ball and start the second half with the ball, see if they can get that offense untracked and get a little bit more time for Christensen to throw the ball. And we're going to see more of that passing success they had in those first 2 weeks, I think. But that's easier said than done, as the John Hay front line has just done a great job of stifling that so far. So before we get to that, Bill, we bring back one of our features from our radio days, and Brian Victor of Howard Hanna says not only wants us to enjoy the game, but enjoy a dog. So we get to the Clearview concession stand. We get to rate the dog today, and we'll start with Andrew Bauman, who is our camera person here today. He was not kind to the dog. He starts out with a 2.5 on our 1 to 5, or I guess it's a 0 to 5 rating scale. And then Edwin Vereen, who's our on-site technician and producer and director extraordinaire, he gave kind of middle of the road. He gave it that 3.0 dog. So Mike, you come in here and tell me what you thought of the Clearview hot dog tonight.
Well, it was a tough decision. I went with a 3. I'm very hungry, and it was free, so I can't be too low on the score. So I'll give it a solid 3. I don't have anything to compare it to, of course.
Well, that was
first week we're doing this.
That was exactly right. I thought this is great. It was exactly what I needed here on a Friday night. I was ready to give it a 10 because I was just so excited about having it. But after being whittled down by your guys' reaction, I'm going to give it a 3.5. So that gives it a solid 3.0 on average from the Lorain County Sports Network crew on our inaugural Rate the Dog. So get the word out to the concession people at Firelands and everywhere else we're going this year. They got to see if they can beat that score as we go on through the rest of this year. We did add 3 more minutes back onto the clock, even though the teams are out there close to 3 minutes in the half. So we still got a couple minutes to go before halftime as the captains meet at midfield and make sure they formally discuss. That's one of the things that little kids make that kind of, we deferred in the we're gonna let them have it in the first half, but then you realize you don't get it in the second half. So the proper way is to defer your choice, and then obviously John Hay elected to take the ball. So now this time Clearview gets their choice, and John Hay determines which way they're going to go. We're going to start the same way we started the first quarter. This time, though, it'll be John Hay kicking to the north, and Clearview getting ready to bring it back north to south as we get ready for the second half of Week 3 of Lorain County High School football here from Sheffield Township. Happy to have you along with us, and all kinds of fun for the rest of the season. I just want the weather to be like this every week, right?
That would be great. I'll sign up for that.
Last week we had no choice since we were outside at Elyria Catholic as they were rebuilding their press box. Here at Clearview, they've got everything rebuilt, and we've got a lot of comfortable space. But I did notice we have a co-worker here in our booth who clearly has been working on his web for weeks and weeks and weeks. But it's such a nice night. We've got the windows open, and when there was a little bit of a breeze earlier, I said he was setting the example for the Clearview side of working hard to keep his web together. Things have really calmed down here now as temperatures have slipped into the 60s, but it is just a beautiful night for anything, really. But what else would you rather be doing on a Friday night than enjoying high school football as we're ready to go for half number 2 of week number 3 here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And it'll be Kason Kirkland who will be kicking off for the John Hay Hornets. They're wearing the white jerseys with the gold helmets and gold pants. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the broadcast, come into the stadium and I see these great black jerseys from Clearview. I had to look a little closer to make sure I was looking at the right helmet. They look pretty sharp out there, but of course with the white helmet and the C on the side, there's no mistaking who the Clippers are. Also enjoying as a broadcaster, this is the first season for the requirement of the jerseys, which makes the numerals on the back of jerseys. There's very specific rules from the Ohio High School Athletic Association of what is acceptable, and it makes it a lot easier. I have a lot less excuses to pick up numbers, and that's going to be offsides right away from John Hay, as they had a couple of guys who are already past the line of scrimmage before the ball is connected, so they're going to back that one up. Something early in the season, we see some of these things that really, again, we talked about that triple penalty on the one play. How are you going to assess that? Is it dead ball, live ball? We talked about the end of the half where the flag was rolled up. That was one of the ones where I thought they threw the flag and would wait to see if Clearview wanted to take the result of the play, but at high school level, he stopped it immediately as soon as there was a white jersey in front of the ball before it was kicked off. So it's clear penalty right in front of us. They'll back it up to the 35, and Kirkland will approach it again. And here we go. Another chance, number 2, to get the second half started. Toes it up. Line drive kick right down the middle. Takes a bounce and is going to head to the end zone. But maybe that's Malcolm Lane picking it up inside the 10. Fighting his way on the right side. Still looking for some room. And then pulled down at the 16-yard line, which is where Clearview will start the third quarter. With 11:54 to go in this third quarter, they'll be at their own 16-yard line. And I do believe that's the worst starting position for a Clearview drive. But see, when you're a young quarterback like Cy Christensen putting up big numbers, that's when you look at it and say, cool, I can really pile up some numbers. Let's make a big drive here is what you're looking for.
Yeah, we talked about the sloppy play from both teams in the first half. Sometimes it just comes down to whatever team makes the least amount of mistakes, and we'll see kind of what happens here in the second half.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of penalties in the first half, but a couple of them were very key points. But those 5 fumbles combined between the two teams, plus an interception by Clearview. So 3 turnovers by each team in the first half. And now we're ready to start. Shotgun snap. That's Rosser handing it off inside. Stricks a tackle and gets across the line of scrimmage almost to the 20. But I tell you what, for as much as he worked there, that was the Clearview defense making him work, because first had to turn it in, and just when he got a couple of steps going, took a big hit from a Clearview defender and puts him down. And way away from the ball is Noah Nunny, who's limping and then puts his butt back down on the ground at the far hash marks because he was hurt. Play went totally to the right side and cut back, and he was on the almost to the hash marks on the opposite side of the field and 10 yards down the field. Came up limping. He's not only one of their starting defensive backs, but he's also their backup quarterback as well. And we did see him punt once as well. So that is a Noah Nunny down on the ground, 6'1", 180-pound senior for the John Hay Hornets. Not exactly what they wanted to see starting the second half.
Yeah, not a lot of flow. Not a lot of flow so far in this one. A lot of stoppages, as we've said. Not what John Hay wants to see.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen a John Hay player down on the field for an extended time. And Antoine Harvey was down for a while in the first. He came back and made some big plays for the John Hay team after the fact. And our crowd mic's doing a great job of picking up some extra activity because we've got the John Hay cheerleaders intermingling with the Clearview cheerleaders on the track in front of us, which of course brings a little bit more of the student section to the middle of the field as well to see what's going on there. So Nunny goes to the sideline. He'll be out this one. Clearview gets 2nd and 7 on this play. 11:35 to go, third quarter. Low snap, but Christensen picks it up, gets a quick hit out to the left side. Aiden Cruz catches the ball, turns it upfield, then drops it. Now, that's a couple of times we've seen this. I think the third time we've seen a Clearview player just drop the ball after running for it. But he does cover his own fumble on that one, and he gets enough for a Clipper first down out to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, it's a slippery ball out there. It's just kind of, no one forced that one. It just slipped out of his hands.
Yeah, I'm not sure because we've seen it a number of times. But regardless, the play is first down for the Clippers, exactly what they needed. And Christensen takes the shotgun snap, steps up, looking the whole time for a pass on the right side, and he gets it away. And the ball is past the 30-yard line as the ball is caught by Damian Jackson out on the right side. And we've seen Christensen be able to go both ways, though. His long passes, he had one to Noble that almost went for a touchdown, the one to Cruz that was for called back on a penalty. Both went left, but of course he's a right-hander and does a good job of getting that ball out to the right side to the 30-yard line. And now a running play as Clearview gets right to the line. And that's Lorenzana getting across the 35, so that'll make it a 6-yard gain and another first down for the Clippers, their second first down of this drive already. 10:17 to go, third quarter. Clock stop while the ball is set. And once it's whistled for play, it runs again. And of course, Clearview wastes no time getting to the line of scrimmage. Now with backs on either side, but now motion left and handoff inside, right up the middle. Beautiful hole for Lorenzana. He takes advantage of that and then rides one of the John Hay defenders a few extra yards across the 45 to the 46-yard line. That's going to move the chains again. Third first down already of this drive for the Clippers.
Yeah, I like both backs in the backfield. Gives the defense something else to think about.
Because they can never stop thinking about Cy Christensen's arm. That's for sure. Here Christensen this time he's going to throw. Looks right, lofting it deep, and looking for, that's Lane fighting up for it, but can't bring it in. Good coverage by the Hornets on that one. And that's just kind of a timing play. You try to use Lane's height on that one, but Hornets defense was able to match man for man on that one. I think that's when you get the momentum of 3 first downs in a row, and Coach Collier and his offensive coordinators say, you know what, let's put them on their heels if we can. Brings up 2nd and 10. Clearview at their own 46-yard line, but this drive started back at the 16. Christensen hands off inside Lorenzana, getting the beautiful hole, cuts it back out right. Now skips past the defender over the 40 and down to the 36-yard line. I'll tell you what, there's some nifty running by Lorenzana. Great hole off the right side to begin with from the Clearview front guys. But then once he got to the outside the numbers, it was making his own moves and skirting forward.
Yeah, great block down here by the wide receiver, number 11, Malcolm Lane, to spring him as well.
It's an 18-yard gain. Low snap again. This time they're pitching it back to Lorenzana, so had to hesitate a little bit. Christensen to get the ball up and to him. Still makes positive yardage and gets out to the 33-yard line. 4 first downs already on this drive. Started back at the 16. This is exactly what Clearview draw up in the locker room at halftime. So we're going to get the ball first. Let's get a sustained drive, put the Hornets on their heels, and see if they can get some more points on the board. Early in the game, though, we saw a lot of action on this end of the field, and the Clippers just could not capitalize. That's that inside handoff, and this one cuts out to the left side, and he has room to run and still going and using some speed to get inside the 10-yard line is Ashton Pabon. Again, you talked to Mike just a few minutes ago about the 2 backs in the backfield. Really keeps the defense guessing because you can never give up on Christensen's arm. And all of a sudden, Lorenzana, and Pabon just says, see you later.
Yeah, nice misdirection there. Off the jet motion, they countered back with Pabon. Big play.
25-yard gain, 5th first down of this drive for the Clippers. This inside handoff. And I believe this is that Lorenzana leaning forward? No, Pabon. Gets down to the 6. The announcer's saying Pabon, right? You know the Clearview better than I do. I grew up in South Lorraine, so that was always Pabon to me when it's spelled that way. But things change when you're as old as I am and been around that long, right, Mike? Don't acknowledge that. Just let it go. Second down now and goal from the 6. Clippers trying to build on this 7-6 lead here in the 3rd quarter. A little misdirection, inside handoff. This is Lorenzana, and he is into the end zone. Got to really give an assist to Aiden Cruz for timing his motion in the misdirection. Keep the John Hay linebacking corps on their heels just for that split second that allowed Lorenzana to cut back the other way and take it in for a 6-yard touchdown and a 13-6 lead for the Clearview Clippers with 8:01 to go here in the 3rd quarter and the extra point to come.
Yeah, great drive by Clearview, mixing it up with motion, misdirection, just what they needed.
Kick is up and good, and that means our friends at I-90 Nissan are going to donate another $5 to the United Way of Greater Lorain County.
Are you kidding me?
And with 8:01 to go in this 3rd quarter, it's now Clearview 14, John Hay 6, and we'll be right back on the Lorain County Sports Network. To go here in the 3rd quarter. We're at Clearview High School where the Clippers have just scored their 2nd time today. That drive went 84 yards, took 3 minutes and 46 seconds, and capped off by Lorenzana with a 6-yard touchdown run. That's going to be a definite candidate for our Valley Chevrolet of Wellington drive of the game. That was not only a good drive at any point in the game, but imperative at that stage. And now a great kick by Kane all the way into the end zone. And that's going to make, now the clock says 8:07. Did I miss that? It was 8:01. Now it says 7:57. So this is what I noticed earlier. This is one of the ones, these are all Wi-Fi now. So sometimes there's a lag based on the Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden the clock will jump 2 seconds. But that one, it went up 6, went down 4, but I think that's correct. 7:57 is the time on the clock here in the third quarter, where John Hay will be starting their first drive of the second half at their own 20.
And we'll see Clearview's defense. They need to adjust. They need to contain Rosser and bottle him up and open field tackle him.
Rosser takes the snap and rolls right. This time he is throwing, but bullet to the ground. No chance of that one getting past. And it's quickly going to make it 2nd and 10. Intended receiver on that one was Aaron Bowling, and we haven't called his name a lot today yet. Seen him a little bit more active on defense than on offense. The other one is they got this big, tall receiver, Glenn, who's out on the left side right now between the hash mark and the numbers on near side of the field. And he's got some size out there, and if I remember correctly, just attempted one pass to him. 2nd and 10. Rosser in the shotgun. Clapping a snap, rolls out right, looking to throw, gets rid of it. This time Bowling again, the intended target, but last time he spiked it in the ground at his feet. That time he sizzled it over his head into the John Hay sideline, and quickly, 9 seconds later, it's 3rd and 10. And you talked about the Clearview defense, but I mean, they're doing what they got to do, but Rosser's making it a little bit easy for them right now.
Yeah, and they're making Rosser be a thrower, whereas in the first half he was able to have that option to run it, and he did so.
That's a good point. The defensive ends are not pinching in as much and shooting the gaps as much. They're trying to go more and more for contain. Rosser again, this time straight drop, and lofting it up over the middle. Again, this is a better shot at a black jersey catching up to it, and we saw that in the first half with an interception in the first half by Ashton Noble. And that time we had 2 Clippers running closer to the ball than the John Hay receiver. It was intended on that one. That was Davis out there looking to catch that one. But Clearview had that one covered up. So 3 and out for John Hay, and perfect start so far in the second half for the Clearview Clippers, both offensively and defensively, as now Cason Kirkland will be standing inside his own 10 to get off this punt. Twin receivers back for the Clippers. Ball is off, a little short. No one's going to get to this one. Ball takes a bounce at the John Hay fort and bounces backwards after taking a couple yards forward. Gotta love the shape of that football helping out the Clippers there. I mean, things could not have gone better for the Clippers on all sides of the ball here to start the second half. Not only an 84-yard drive by the offense to start, 3 and out by the defense, and the special teams were able to concoct a little nifty bounce there. So Clearview will be starting this possession well into John Hay territory at the 39-yard line. And we've got 7:33 to go and a chance for Clearview to build on a 14-6 lead. The offense right to the line. Twin receivers left. This time Lorenzana gets a handoff inside, but then cuts it off the rough tackle and falls forward for about 2 to 3 yards. So we'll give him 3 on that one.
And again, we talked last possession for Clearview. These both backs, they complement each other well. They can give each other a break if one of them needs that, and you saw that last possession. And we'll see them continue to complement each other. 2
yards for Lorenzana, so it brings up 2nd and 8. Christensen again in it. We've seen a couple times he went under center, but shotgun all the time, and this time throwing left side, and this one's picked off at about the 12-yard line. As we just talked about that with Rosser's last pass, had a better chance of getting caught by a black jersey. That one went right to a white jersey at the 12, and it looks like we've got Lazarus Barber. We've called his name a couple times on defense for John Hay as well. Comes up with that pass, and quick series and out for Clearview as they give the ball back to John Hay, starting at their own 20 again. Same place they started last drive. This time 6:54 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, Christensen would like to have that back. Kind of just lofted it up, made a poor decision. As we see Clearview with some personnel issues here, running the guy off late. Here's Rosser on the edge like we talked about.
He's keeping it, and I got a flag comes in as he tries to get himself a little forward, gets about to the 25, but I think this one's coming back because that flag is in the area where holding is usually on a white jersey. Flag came down at the 21, so that's the spot of the foul. This will take it all the way back to the 11-yard line, and John Hay giving pats on the back to number 40 on that one back to the huddle, so I don't even think we have to get any indication from the official. It's just a matter of where's the spot going to be, and repeat first down on this one. So they'll mark it down at they're marking it inside. Well, they're putting it right at the 10. So it'll be a gain of 0 on the rushing play, and then a 10-yard penalty takes it back to the 10. First and 20 for the Hornets. I expect them to run Rosser outside on this one, but we'll see what they got. He hasn't had any success throwing. He tucks it right under. That was a keeper the whole way, but he's got pressure from the Clippers defense right away as well, so he's got nowhere to go on that one, and brought down for a loss. Isaac DeAndrea again around the ball on that one. Puts it back at let's see, they're marked at the 7.
Yeah, great job by that Clearview defense, making the adjustment, containing Rosser, making him cut it back in.
2nd and 22 inside the 10. So this is where Clippers defense trying to keep putting pressure on Rosser. Let's see what Coach Desapita for the Hornets has in his hip pocket for 2nd and 22. It's roll left, and he's in the end zone, and that's going to be a safety, but the ball's loose, so it might be a touchdown. Let's see, was his knee down, or did he fumble it away? Now we got an indication of a touchdown. And I believe that's Ashton. Nope. That is DeAndrea with the ball. Did he cover that? DeAndrea came out of it. I'm not sure if he was the one who covered it in the end zone. As we were waiting to see, I couldn't tell if Rosser's knee had gone down before he lost the ball, but it's going to go as a sack. Going to be an 8-yard sack, fumble recovery in the end zone for a Clearview touchdown to make the score 20-6 with 5:51 to go in this third quarter.
Yeah, tough decision there. Rosser's trying to fight to get out of the end zone to not avoid the safety, but he ends up fumbling.
And the extra point is up and good, making the score 21-6. Things could not have started better here in the third quarter for the Clearview Clippers, and we're going to see if they can continue that trend when we come back on the Lorain County Sports Network. Watching the film on that one because hey, we got another creature joining us in the press box here. we got all kinds of friends joining us up here in the Clearview press box. 21-6 now, 5:51 to go. A minute 3 was that drive for John Hay for them to give it up and Clearview to score on the fumble recovery in the end zone on the ensuing kickoff. Another great kick pushes John Hay back. And Davis takes it out to about the 20-yard line before he's shoved backwards. So I think he's going to get forward progress. Let's see, I think they're going to mark him about the 19. And John Hay is already going to have their third possession of this third quarter. And we're just barely halfway through as we got another John Hay player down on the field. Third time a Hornet has stayed on the field after the play. And can't get a number from this angle on him, but not making a whole lot of movement. Now they're looking at a possible lower leg injury. I hope he doesn't need it, but ironically, the Sheffield Township Rescue Squad just left on their own call.
And again, great start for Clearview to this second half. Great adjustments on both sides of the ball. They're fired up. They've got the momentum. Make the big play on the kick coverage team.
Yeah, all three facets of the game have gone extremely well for the Clippers in the last 6 minutes and 17 seconds, including great coverage on that kickoff right there as well. It was a great kick, put it inside the 10, and the coverage keeps them from even getting to the 20-yard line. So we're seeing it. I'm going to tell Mike Collier it's all good coaching. By the way, for those who didn't get the reference in the first half, before the game, in the pregame, I was talking to Coach Collier on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, and I mentioned he has such a great relationship with the athletic director and scheduling. Mike Collier is the athletic director here as well as the head football coach. But what we talked about with the scheduling and what we alluded to also in that pregame show was that the opportunity for points towards the playoffs is huge here because not only is John Hay a Division II team, but playing in the Senate League, they're going to accumulate some wins this year. And so if Clearview can hold on to this margin and even build on it and come home with a W on this one, this is one of those games, like Toledo Scott might not help them too much throughout the year. That was their opening week win. But this is a team that's going to win because they're probably, and especially from what we've seen tonight, what we've seen the first 2 weeks of the season, they're almost certainly the second best team in the Senate and would be basically favored to win the majority of the rest of their games, except, of course, when they got to play Glenville, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Scheduling is not an easy thing to do, but certainly this game here tonight has the potential to be a big win down the year for Clearview, as you said.
Black River's up on Brooklyn 21-0 in the third quarter. We try to get some additional updated scores for you. Avon Lake has scored again, but still trailing. They're way out at Chardon today, 14-10. Hilltoppers are up on the Shoremen on that one. Of course, Avon Lake 2-0 to start the season. And people don't know a lot about Chardon on the west side of Cleveland, but that was the game where Chardon was actually the favorite. As we're back in action, and boy, oh boy, a quick handoff cutting through the backfield, and Clearview was not at all surprised at that one. And Aiden Cruz, one of the first two Clippers, to just snuff that one out. And that knocks it back to the 14-yard line for a loss of 5 on that one. It's the first play of the drive. We were waiting so long for the injury time out there. So it brings up 2nd and 15. Great. And again, Clearview has really not done anything wrong here in the entire third quarter in all three facets of the game.
Yeah, we've got Nunny in at quarterback too.
Now there looked like some confusion in the Hornet backfield, and the Clippers take advantage of that and wrap up Rosser for yet another loss. And there's got a whole group of black jerseys in there, so I'm not even sure who I need to pick out of there. That wrapped them up and threw them backwards. There is a flag on the play. We've got another sideline infraction. Now, they did have a warning there in the first half, but Clippers on this one are going to decline it, take the play, knocks the ball inside the 10-yard line to the 8. So another loss of 6. So 3rd and 21, and this is where the Clippers got the strip sack and fumble recover in the end zone last possession. This time Rosser, quick handoff up the middle, and it's Moss who cuts now back to the right side and all the way to his sideline. He might have enough for a first down right there. He's very close. It looks like they're marking him just short of the first down. But they've got him at the 28, and he needed to get to the 29. So a gain of 20, but brings up 4th and 1 with a score of 21-6. And 4:44 to go in the third quarter. Decision-making time for Coach DeCipita.
Yeah, and that's Noah Nunny in at quarterback. Rosser limped off. He's trying to run it off there on the sideline.
But also remember, Nunny was hurt earlier, but also Nunny, the second punt of the game was by Nunny. But this time he's under center, so it looks like they're going to go for it. But then the right tackle jumps offside for John Hay, and that's going to ruin that great plan. Looked like they had a quick count ready to go and just going to push Nunny forward, but that 5 yards is going to hurt him bad. We talked about there weren't a whole lot of penalties in this game. but the ones that have been there have come at some really key times for whoever's doing the infraction, and that is going to bring out the punt team. Payson Kirkland is the punter back there for John Hay, and they like their kicker here, and boy, they've needed him a lot today. Standing at his own 10, steps into it. Aiden Cruz gets the block, and it's going to go to the sideline and out of bounds. Aiden Cruz, that's his second blocked kick of the day. He blocked the extra point on John Hay's one and only touchdown in the second quarter, and he was in and that was a no-doubter.
Yeah, and Clearview's been close all game for that block. Cruz has been close all game coming off that edge on the block, and he finally got it.
4:38 to go in this third quarter, and Clearview's getting the ball at the John Hay 13 off of that. What a tremendous play by Cruz getting in there. And this is a situation where Clearview has John Hay on their heels. They need to take advantage. John Hay's late getting 11th player out there, but it doesn't matter on that one as they not only get the back stood up in the middle of the line, we can see they're in there trying to strip the ball away. And that's Lorenzana. And he gets a yard. Place that ball down at the 13-yard line. We have had 5 fumbles and a couple interceptions, 3 interceptions now. So here's Christensen throwing for the corner of the end zone for Malcolm Lane. He's open. Defender gets there and got a hand on the ball, but Lane, tremendous concentration to catch the ball in the back corner of the end zone for a Clearview touchdown. Malcolm Lane from Cy Christensen. Beautifully done. You know those guys have been practicing. They've been throwing that one up all summer long, right?
Yeah,
Beautiful to do it on a Friday night.
Great connection on that fade route. Great ball. Receiver going up to make the play. Great execution.
4:03 to go. That's a 35-second drive, and that is the type of situation, not only the 7 points, but the timing of the game, that might even put the nail in the coffin, knowing that the John Hay Hornets are only averaging about 10 points a game, and this would put them down by 22 if the kick is good, and it is. So it's now 28-6 Clearview with 4:03 to go in the game, and with that touchdown from Cy Christensen to Malcolm Lane, another donation, my I-90 Nissan, to the United Way of Greater Lorraine County.
Are you kidding me?
And we've got some more fun coming back, so stay tuned here on the Lorraine County Sports Network. Clearview High School, where it was the Clippers with a 7-6 lead to start the third quarter, now 28-6 as they're getting ready to kick off. And remind you that we've got games with our sister stations, WDLW and WOBL. OBL's over in Grafton with Elyria Catholic taking on Midview, and in Avon on WDLW, Glenville is giving it all to Avon.
Yeah, Glenville takes the lead 16-14 in the fourth quarter at Avon. Glenville up 16-14.
Kickoff taken at about the 7-yard line and straight up the middle this time by John Hay, and this is a long return. Looked like he had a chance to break it. That's bowling, and yet he is wrestled down before he can do anything further damage. And I think that was Ashton Paban who got into him to keep it from getting any worse, but a great return for John Hay. They needed some type of spark. That's a 43-yard return on the kickoff and gives them a starting position right at midfield with 3:54 to go here in the third quarter. This is already the 4th possession of this quarter by John. I don't remember a game where he had this many possessions. Rosser swings it out to the right side and he has it complete to Moss, who's trying to get some extra yardage after the catch. Caught the ball about a yard behind the line of scrimmage and gets about a 4-yard gain into Clipper territory. Be 2nd and 6. John Hay definitely needs to do something here because I don't even know that you want any moral victories here. You need some points on the board, down by 22 when you haven't even scored 22 points yet this season. So Rosser keeping it this time around the left side, trying to fake like he might be passing, but I think that was a keeper the whole way. And Malcolm Lane, who just scored the last touchdown for the Clippers, doing it on the other side of the ball as well as he brings down Rosser back behind the original line of scrimmage, back in John Hay territory at the 49, a loss of 5, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 15 for John Hay.
Yeah, Aiden Cruz showing why he's one of the best players in Lorain County, a two-way guy. You see him on both sides of the ball. His speed, athleticism really sticks out.
Yeah, definitely team pursuit on that one for the Clippers. 3rd and long again for John Hay. Rosser in shotgun formation. Brings Bowling in motion left. Takes the snap and rolls right. Gets the pass away, but really no chance of getting out. Moss was cutting across at about the 35. And not only had good coverage there from Ashton Paban, but also the ball was up above his, or I'm sorry, that was Ashton Noble. When the ball was up above his head and no chance to catch that one. So brings up 4th down and brings out the punt team again for John Hay.
And we'll see what Clearview can do with this punt. Got the big block last time. We'll see if Aiden Cruz gets blocked this time.
Well, we see a lot of times where, you pick your spots, and now that you think John Hay is going to maybe overreact for protection, that you set up the return on this one maybe. But John Hay's got an extra backer back there. Cruz coming in, though, and I think he might have got a finger on it as the ball's knocked down and bounces and is immediately covered at the Clearview 44-yard line as Ashton Paban comes sliding in to make sure that ball didn't skip down the field any further. Do you think Cruz got a finger on it?
I thought he did, definitely. Yeah, the ball changed direction.
I mean, I think he saw Cruz coming out of the corner of his eye and rushed it a little bit, but because it came off his foot funny. But I do think it kind of started squirting away because of some contact there.
Well, that's huge, too. The pressure he puts on the kick, even if he doesn't make a block, the pressure he's putting on the kicker each time because he knows he's coming.
Have you ever known someone to have 3 kick blocks in one game, though? Because he blocked an extra point and now back-to-back punts. 2:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Clearview with the ball back at their own, back the ball down at the 43-yard line. And this is Lorenzana running around the right side. And good pursuit by John Hay, and finally put down for good by George Beard. And no gain is what it looks like. Put the ball back down at the 43-yard line. 2nd and 10 for the Clippers. They're taking their time a little bit more getting to the line of scrimmage with a 22-point lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Time and score. You've got your lead. 2nd half, you kind of go into your...
John Hay showing blitz on this one. Christensen to pass. He's got some time. Still got time. Still looking, and now he's hit as he tries to go. And the ball is whistled dead. It was very close. One of those in-between plays, and the referee's back at the 30-yard line at midfield while the contact's happening outside the hash marks closer to the 40. And it was kind of in between where he was intending to move his arm forward, but the ball came loose, and it's going to be called an incomplete pass and bring up 3rd and 10. John Hay trying to make some action there. So they showed blitz, but then dropped people back for coverage, and so it ends up being not a sack, but the pressure on the quarterback due to the coverage. And now Christensen takes the snap, rolls left, immediately has pressure there, and he throws it away, but that ball's nowhere near the line of scrimmage. So, and Malcolm Lane is out there around the 45. Ball got thrown out of bounds around the 38, I think, where it actually crossed out of bounds, but no flag comes out on that one. But it's going to bring up 4th down and 10 for the Clippers, and they're going to bring out their punt team.
Yeah, not the type of drive you want. Didn't take a ton of time off the clock if you're Clearview with the incomplete passes.
Well, that one I definitely give credit to the John Hay defense. They needed to step it up, and they were putting, showed blitz on the 2nd down and dropped back, and then did put pressure into Christensen immediately. Had no time to even look for a receiver on that 3rd down play. And here's the punt. Puts the left foot to it. Get a good bounce at the 40 inside the 35, and going to be down at the 33-yard line. It's just a 24-yard punt, but no return. We've got 1:23 to go here in the third quarter. Now Clearview up 28-6. John Hay gets the ball back. And usually what I was saying before about the number of possessions, usually when you have a game with a lot of possessions, it's 8-yard, 10-yard drives. And then the other team, and you're running the clock down with those types of possession-type games. This, we've had multiple fumbles. We've had multiple interceptions. We've had 3 and outs. And we've got another possession here for John Hay still here in the third quarter, minute 23 to go. 33-yard line is where they're starting. Long count here, and here we go. This is Caleb Moss getting the direct snap. We mentioned that Rosser went out, remember, on that third down play. And Nunny came in to try to get the fourth down sneak.
Yeah, he was actually split out at wide receiver there. They went with a little wildcat action, and he was out by the John Hay sideline as a wide receiver.
Okay, I wanted to make sure if they were protecting him if he hurt his arm or something like that while he went that injury on that last series. But now he's back in shotgun formation. 2nd and 8 for John Hay at their own 35. 48 seconds left here in this third quarter as we tick things down. Bowling in motion, quick pass out, and Bowling was the intended receiver. He had to spin around to try to catch it as the ball was up above and behind him. And by the time he realized he had no chance of catching the ball, Ethan Lorenzana came in and pushed him on his back very emphatically. That might be certainly a competitor for our collision of the game, which is brought to you by Ernie's Auto Body. So keep that one in mind. Ethan Lorenzana putting the finishing touches on that one. Brings up 3rd and 8. John Hay's going to take their first time out of this second half with just 24 seconds left in the third quarter. It's Clearview 28, John Hay 6. We'll continue right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back to Clearview High School as John Hay has 3rd and 8 here. Might be the final play of the third quarter, and we've got flags and an illegal procedure as the referee on the far side is pointing to the John Hay receiver, who was already a good 12 yards downfield about 2 seconds after the whistle blew. So I think he got an early start out of that. Was Moss, and that's going to bring it back to the 30-yard line and make it 3rd and 13 now for John Hay. 23 seconds still on the clock. Third quarter here from Clearview. Rosser with his snap takes it and going to loft it up, and that was what they wanted, was a fly pattern to Moss, but that ball is thrown outside the lines and out of bounds as Clearview had coverage from both Cruz as well as from Noble on the far sideline. Ball falls incomplete. Going to bring up 4th and 13 and bring back out John Hay punt team. This is the 15th drive for John Hay today. They have 6 points.
Yeah, their scuffles continue here through 3 games, and got to give Clearview credit for that as well.
Well, I see with the excitement about their quarterback and being his athleticism, but his throwing accuracy has been want for most of the game. And now punting again. I've already had 2 of them blocked, and here's Aiden. Guess who? Aiden Cruz wraps up the punter. That was a low snap that the punter, you could tell he was doing his best to pick it up, but he's immediately looking for number 1, because number 1 in the black jersey has been in the backfield for all 3 of the last punts by John Hay, and that is another huge play by Aiden Cruz. I mean, I don't know what more words you can say about what his efforts have done here.
Yeah.
Now with 10 seconds to go in the third.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. He's three phases of the game he's impacted.
That is amazing. I mean, I just never seen someone just dominate a special teams like this. And I was there today. Eric Metcalf ran back 2 kickoffs against Pittsburgh. And that was impressive. Aiden Cruz is upping that even more so. Lorenzana takes the handoff right up the middle. Nice gain inside the 15-yard line. That's going to run timeout here in the third quarter. When we come back, it'll be second down as Clearview's in the I-90 red zone here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here at Clearview, where the Clippers are trying to add on to a 22-point lead as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. It's the Clippers 28, John Hay 6, but this game was 7-6 at halftime when John Hay just missed an opportunity to take the lead as time expired, and now Clearview looking to put some hurting on as Cy Christensen dumps it off on the left side on a flare-out, and getting inside the 10-yard line is Damian Jackson. Marking it at the 7-yard line. 8. Marking at the 8, so gain is 6. Got 3rd and 1 here. 11:28 and counting in the fourth quarter, and the Clearview offense, which gets to the line very quickly, is a little bit more methodical. Got twin backs in the backfield next to Christensen in the shotgun formation. And again, try that misdirection, but this time it's not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a loss. Jackson takes the ball and is literally gets jumped on his back by George Beard. And we heard Coach Desapita from John Hay brag on him early in the game. He's their Mike linebacker who just finds a way to get to the ball. And we tend to call his name a little bit more as the game goes along. This puts it back outside the 10-yard line, mark it at the 11. So a loss of 3 on that one. And brings up 4th and 4 for the Clippers, and they're going to keep the offense out there. Christensen in the shotgun, rolls right, looking in the corner of the end zone. Same pass play that they had for the last touchdown, this time looking for Jackson in the corner. And much better coverage by the John Hay Hornets, and the Clippers are going to give the ball up on downs, but obviously they're willing to sacrifice that for the chance to score because it gives John Hay a starting position deep in their own territory.
Yeah, good stop by John Hay, continuing to play hard here, even though score somewhat decided here, still playing hard, get the ball back for their offense.
So 10:35 to go here in this fourth quarter. 28-6 is still the lead for Clearview. John Hay gets the ball right at their own 11-yard line, and you know, we talked about the athleticism and the upside of Rosser for John Hay, but clearly his accuracy, we've seen him spike the ball into the ground, we've seen him overthrow receivers on a pretty wide basis, so now you're in a position where you really have to throw the ball, and let's see what he can do. This time he's going to hand it off right up the middle. There's a running back, and that is going to be, I don't think we've called that number yet today. I think that was that Xavier Peterson? Took the snap on that one? That would be a surprise if it was. No, I think it was probably Davis. Nice gain on first down, takes it out to the 17-yard line. Another running play, this time off the left side. And that time, it's Gabriel Beard. Got the Beard brothers out there, and that's enough for a first down. As they'll put the ball at the 21-yard line.
And again, John Hay, as we mentioned, they're gonna be in a position to win a lot of games this year. So they're gonna try to take what they can in the time they have in this fourth quarter and use it to their benefit.
Yeah, you're still young in the season, and you've got a junior quarterback back there. You're trying to get as much experience as possible. And he's keeping it this one, Rosser on the right side. But I tell you what, that's one you're going to look at on film and say that was one of the finer plays of the game, as Dominic Jackson did not fall for any of the little juking moves that Rosser was making. And he's a big athletic guy, so it's easy to get kind of drawn in by that. But he stayed home and made a nice tackle on that one for a gain of just 1. As they'll mark that at the 22 and bring up 2nd and 9 for John Hay. More importantly, we're already down to 9:10 to go here in the game. And that's what Clearview wants more than anything, is see that clock run. So Rosser back in the shotgun formation, snap, and after the clap, and this time it's a handoff. Again, right up the middle. You know, they're capable of springing one of these, but this is taking up a lot of time. That's Gabriel Beard again on that run, just getting a couple. Now to about the 24-yard line. So we're going to bring up 3rd down and 7. 8:37 now.
If you're John Hay, you know, obviously they're not in any hurry here. They're just trying to build some positive plays, work on what they need to work on.
I think with all the turnovers, though, you know, I mean, at some point, hey, let's practice a 2-minute drill and see if we can get, you know, something going. And a lot of time left. This time Rosser keeping it and going over to left tackle and not getting very much. Gets across the 25, but he's going to be short of the first down. Mark it at the 26 and bring up another 4th down. Well, I really question this series of plays for John Hay as they march their punt team back out on the field, because you're down by 22 and you just run. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You know, I mean, but again, with this much time left, you score, you try an onside kick. We've already had half dozen turnovers in this game or more. Well, we're up to 7 turnovers.
You said, what's the worst that could happen? I guess they don't want to find out.
Yeah, because, I mean, the worst is the game. You're going to lose the game. And now you're down by 22, and you're running the ball back in your own corner of the end zone, and you're going to lose the game. So here's Case, and Kirkland finally gets a punt away. One for his last 4. Ball's caught about the 47-yard line by Lane, who goes forward, backward, and then forward again. And Lane gets back into John Hay territory, I guess you'd say, with a return of about, let's see, where are they going to mark this one at? Oh, it's only going to be a return of about 3 yards after a punt of 27. But Case and Kirkland for John Hay has to be happy just to get a punt away, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All night they've seen Aiden Cruz.
If you're just joining us, Aiden Cruz blocked back-to-back punts, and then when the next punt was fumbled on the snap, Cruz wrapped up the punter for a huge loss. Unfortunately, Clearview hasn't been able to convert any points on that. Now still sitting at 28-6 after a 21-point third quarter for the Clippers offense. They're back at it right at midfield with 7:20 to go in this game. And running off left tackle is Lorenzana, and he gets some running room and heads off towards the sideline and carries a guy with him another 3 yards. Beautiful run.
Yeah, one question that Clearview maybe had before the season was their offensive line. Everybody knew about their skill kids, but the question was up front, and they've held up well here tonight.
Gain of 15 on that one, so that's another first down for the Clippers offense. 7:02 to go in this one. Clearview 28, John Hay 6. Next week, Clearview plays Keystone. They open Lorain County League play. Lorenzana comes kind of sluggishly off to the side of the feet, to the sidelines, as Ashton Pavon comes back on, and Pavon gets the call, goes off the left side, almost similar to last play. And he gets across the 30 down to the 25-yard line, a gain of 10, and that's going to move the chains again for back-to-back first down runs for the Clippers. And I hear the PA announcer still saying Pavon, so I think I need to get with the Clipper vernacular and go with the long A on that one. 6:38 to go in this one. 1st and 10 for the Clippers. Christensen takes the shotgun snap, hands it off left side. Basically the same exact play, and even better result is skipping forward and inside the 10 and down to the 5-yard line now is Pavon. They mark him out. Put it right at the, I think they're putting it down at the 5-yard line. It's a 20-yard gain. And back-to-back-to-back first down rushes for Clippers. And they are just the front line for the Clippers is just dominating now. And you can see the John Hay guys are a little gassed there.
Yeah, Clearview essentially running the same play.
Clock is running now with 6:25 to go here in the game. Clearview knocking on the door from the 5. Christensen, this time Lorenzana's back in, and he's going in the end zone. 5-yard run for Ethan Lorenzana. That gives him multiple touchdowns on the day and makes it now 34-6 in favor of the Clearview Clippers with 6:18 to go in this one. And with that score, I-90 Nissan's going to do another donation. Yeah, the Clippers are going to bleed out the I-90 Nissan bank account, but it's all for the greater good of the United Way of Greater Lorain County. So we thank our friends at I-90 Nissan.
Are you kidding me?
Extra point coming. This time it's Ty Pinto out there getting a chance to convert the extra point for the Clippers. And that kick is very low. I don't know if it's as much blocked as it was kicked into the guy in front of him, so it's not going to be good. 6:18 to go in this one. It's now Clearview 34, John Hayes 6, and we'll be back with the ensuing kickoff right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back to Clearview High School on a beautiful night for football, and it's been a great night for number 3, Ethan Lorenzana. He opened his scoring early in the second quarter with a 12-yard touchdown run, and he just had his 3rd touchdown run of the game, this time from 5 yards out to give Clearview a 34-6 lead. And the ensuing kickoff's coming out, and, well, no one wants it, but it bounces between the John Hay receivers who had a little communication problem, and doesn't matter, in the end zone. And John Hay will start their next possession. And I believe we're up to 16 possessions now in this game. This will be 17th possession for John Hay today. This one starting at the 20-yard line with 6:17 to go in this game. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. Thanks to Andrew Bauman on the camera and Edwin Vereen running the show here. Make sure you join us each and every Friday night. Next week we're going to Firelands, where Columbia will be going on. I mentioned that Clearview is going to play Keystone next, and Keystone, of course, has that just terrible story this week with Zach Shackelford. I believe had surgery this morning to repair a broken leg that was suffered in last week's game, and unfortunately it was very early in last night's game. So this drive starting for John Hay, and they are throwing the ball after running it on every play last possession, but this first pass is incomplete off to the left side, and Rosser going to the sideline to get some direction from his coach as it brings up 2nd and 10 from the 20.
Yeah, and talking about the Lorain County League, it's going to be exciting to follow the season this year. You said next week we'll be at Firelands for Columbia and Firelands. We've seen Oberlin. I think we'll see just about all the teams this year. It'll be an interesting race for sure.
Here's a pass out for Rosser, a quick hitter on the left side, and I believe that's Moss trying to dart his way forward and gets about 5 out to the 25. Going to bring up 3rd and 5 again. You know, I mean, you can't argue that Columbia is still the team to beat in the Lorain County League, but these Clippers have made such strides after a couple down years that next week just makes it just for you know, kind of one of those pretty epic early season battles, and might even be one of those games that basically decides the Lorain County League title on the opening week of the season even. But I'm sorry, it's Keystone with Clearview next. We've got Columbia next week, but when Columbia plays Clearview, that's going to be a tough one. But Firelands definitely wants to have something to say about this. This time, Rosser's going to try the same pass out to the right side, but goes through Moss's hands. Now, that one I can't put on Rosser. That ball was right where he needed to be, but unfortunately for the Hornets, it's going to bring out the punt team again as they go 3 and out yet again on this. Their 17th possession of the game and managing only 6 points so far. 5:21 to go in this one. We're at Clearview High School. Well, kind of back beyond Clearview High School, just to the north of the high school in this beautifully redone facility. New turf, new track, new locker rooms, new concession stands. A little higher snap, but this time it has time. Get the punt away. Hits at about the 49-yard line. Bounces into Clearview territory. As it starts to bounce back, it's covered by the Hornets coverage team. And with 5:11 to go in this game, Clearview is going to have a chance to try to run some clock here. And last time they were looking to run clock, the problem was they kept getting first downs on every play, so it stopped the clock each time, right? You can only take 25 seconds off when you do that instead of being able to take off the 40. So they're a victim of their own success on that one, but things really started clicking there early in the third quarter for Clearview, and once they got that momentum going, they have just been able to control this game in all 3 facets. They're putting the ball down finally at the 45 is where we'll start this drive for the Clippers. Don't forget, Dave Rivera and Maria Janasco will be on WOVL and WDLW, as well as the app and the websites for all the most complete post-game coverage you'll ever find anywhere in Lorain County. Here's a handoff, this guy on the left side. Surprise, surprise. Clearview just relying on that left side of the line to keep pushing things through, and that's Tristan and Teal getting his first carry of the game and gets it out to the midfield stripe for a gain of 5. Clock running now at 4:50. Oh, it's 4:58, sorry. Now, I know it's not a full moon anymore, but we're looking directly at an almost full moon staring us down directly across from the press box here, kind of hiding a little behind the trees. Looks very cool on just a beautiful evening in Sheffield Township. Clearview back to the line. Christensen takes the shotgun snap, hands it off to Teal. Gets into John Hay territory, down to about the 47-yard line, a gain of 3. Going to bring up 3rd and 3 for the Clippers.
Couple scores to pass along. North Ridgeville beats North Royalton 20-17 on a walk-off field goal.
Wow, love to hear that for the Rangers. Good for them.
And then Brookside is over Fairview 28-13.
A lot of people didn't have faith in Brookside tonight, and I thought, you know what, this is one where Brookside, they're going to have a winning record going into Lorain County League play too, so another team to keep an eye on for sure. We got to start talking about player of the game here. You know, our first 2 weeks, we had to give it to out-of-county people, and this week is not going to be the case, and we actually have some choices in front of us that we got to make here. Clearview, 3rd and 3, handoff, left side, surprise, surprise, and fighting forward for the first down is Teal doing a nice job getting right to the 45-yard line of John Hay for a first down. Clock stops to reset the ball, but it's going to keep running from 3:35 once they get the whistle to play. So we got to talk about Ethan Lorenzana. 3 scores, really the workhorse to start the game when Clearview's offense had some trouble getting going. Ethan was there. He's put the ball in the end zone repeatedly. But then you got to look at some very special performance by Aiden Cruz in all 3 aspects of the game. He's contributed in every facet, but just dominated the special teams. Here's a handoff and then a little cutback misdirection to the left side. Now we're going into the second ring of the Clearview offense, so that's Xavier Ricks, who gets his first carry of the game and gets about 3 on that one to bring up 2nd and 7. They'll put it down at the John Hay 42-yard line. 2:46 and counting as we're ready to wrap this one up here at Clearview. It's the Clippers 34 and John Hay 6, but if you didn't join us from the beginning, this game was 7-6 at halftime, and John Hay had a chance to take the lead right before half, and it has just been nothing but Clippers here in the second half. Here's a quick pitch and run around the right side, another name we haven't called yet today, and that one's going to go for a loss, unfortunately, around the right side as Nathan Christensen takes the little pitch forward from his brother. And drop it back behind the sticks. So a loss of, call it 4, put it back at the 46, and going to bring up 3rd and 11 for the Clippers, down hitting the 2-minute mark right now here in this game. Don't forget, next week we're at Firelands as they take on Keystone Open Lorain County League play. Excited to get out to Henrietta Township. Christensen takes the snap, hands it off, left side of the line, and fighting forward, and getting back across the original line of scrimmage is Xavier Ricks. Call it mark it at right at the, I'll mark it at the 44 and give him a gain of 2, but it's going to bring up 4th and 9. Offense staying on the field, but remember Christensen is a punter as well and has punted once today, so I don't know if he I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of just tries to kick this to the corner from where they're at. 1:16 left, and he is going to do that, his second punt of the day, and not quite coffin corner, but with 1:10 to go in a game you're winning by 28 points, I don't think anyone's going to care too much about that one, but work on that one next in practice. So giving that one up on the punt is the Clippers, and John Hay will get one more possession, but based on what we've seen them do the last 2 series, I wouldn't be surprised they take a couple knees and head for the bus.
Yeah, that's about all you can do at this point is go back, regroup, and get ready for league play, as Clearview will do as well. On a happier note.
Stay tuned. After the game, we'll wrap up your stats announce our player of the game. And I don't know what you call it. It's not victory formation, right, when you do this, but he does hand it off and bowling around the left side and gets nothing. The referee on the side judge is quick to indicate that the ball is inbounds. And the clock will continue to run after no gain. So we got to get at least one more snap here as we're at 53 seconds and running, as the Clippers are ready to put a second win on their season already. And their only loss was that heartbreaking 1-point last-second loss to Lakewood last week. So pretty good start for the Clippers this year, and a lot of momentum going into league play next week, as John Hay runs it one more time, gets it out to the 30-yard line for a gain of 3. And I would be surprised if they snap it again, as we're down to 24 seconds, 22. And certainly more than that on the play clock. John Hay coming to the line. So we'll see what they're going to do. It looks like they're going to try to run one more play. So they got a 28-point play in their pocket, but it's just a run around the right side, and that's going to run the clock out as we are at zeros on the board here at Tom Hoke Stadium. And Clearview does have their second win of the year as they beat John Hay 34-6 here on week 3, and just an absolute gorgeous night for football in Sheffield Township. Stay tuned. We're going to come back, wrap things up with their stats and our player of the game and some other awards. So we'll be back in just a minute here on the Lorain County Sports Network. back to the Achieve Credit Union postgame show here from Clearview High School, where we just saw the Clippers move to 2-1 on the year with a 34-6 win over the John Hay Hornets. And, boy, I tell you what, things definitely took a change at halftime. Whatever locker room speech Mike Collier gave today, he needs to put that one on tape and play it back on a weekly basis, because it definitely worked. As this game started slowly and struggled, as we had multiple fumbles on the first series, as John Hay bobbled the kickoff and then fumbled the first play of the game back to Clearview. But with multiple fumble recoveries in the first half and a couple of interceptions, we had trouble scoring. And finally, Clearview got on the board first, but then headed to halftime. Clearview was trying to protect a 7-6 lead, but after another fumble recovery there by John Hay, the Hornets were trying to take the lead at halftime, and on a very awkward play, ran out of time. And we went to halftime with a 1-point game. And like I said, whatever Mike Collier said at halftime, it worked, because the Clippers came out and dominated the third quarter and ended up winning this one, going away in our final score, 34-6. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. Happy to have you with us as we're going to wrap things up and give you time to head over to WOBL and WDLW for the scoreboard show and postgame. Well, everything that's been going on in Lorain County, because it's a very exciting night, and we had nothing but fun tonight here at Clearview. And start with some of our recognition for tonight's game. I'll start with the drive of the game, with kind of what I just alluded to. We went into halftime with a 7-6 lead, and Clearview comes out as they had won the toss but deferred, so they get the ball to start the second half, and they get at its own 16, and they go 3 minutes and 46 seconds. They go all 84 yards. Ethan Lorenzana takes it in from 6 yards out to give them a 14-6 lead, and then it just became a domination by the Clippers after that. And that's our Valley Chevrolet of Wellington drive of the game. 84 yards capped off by an Ethan Lorenzana 6-yard touchdown. We also try to recognize the electric play of the game, brought to you by Honeydude's Handyman. And I tell you what, Mike and I didn't even discuss this one, because you're not going to be able to talk me out of this one. But the next series, actually 2 series after that, the next series, the first series of the second half, John Hay ends up having a punt. They get an interception, and John Hay has to start that next series at their own 20, and they went nothing but backwards. And finally, on third down, as Rosser dropped back to pass, had all kinds of pressure from the Clippers defense, and it looked like Isaac DeAndrea ended up with on top of the ball in the end zone for a score, and that was really just put all doubt to rest right there, because Clearview just came out and dominated the rest of the quarter and the entire second half. That made it 21-6 in favor of Clearview and becomes our electric play of the game. Now, we also have to recognize a player of the game, and I always like the times where we really have to discuss, that some guys really had some really good games out there tonight, and I always have to put my hats off to the guys up front, because guys like we mentioned, Isaac DeAndrea, he had that pressure in the touchdown. Isaiah Longo played a great game up front, had a fumble recovery. Greg O'Hearn was around the ball at all times. Jordan Stowers had a very good game up front. Those guys all deserve game balls at the very least, if not even player of the game. But obviously you end up talking about the skill players and the guys who put the ball in the end zone. They get all that credit. And Ethan Lorenzana for the Clearview Clippers had himself a phenomenal offensive game. We talked about that earlier. He had the first score of the game from 6 yards out, put the ball in the end zone a couple more times before the game was over. And we'll talk about his stats coming up in just a minute. But I'll tell you what, it made it tough to pick a player of the game, because there was somebody else who really electrified the crowd on multiple times tonight. Right, Mike?
Yeah, a lot of guys to talk about, but the one kid that really stood out for us was number 1, Aiden Cruz. I mean, he was in on all 3 phases of the game. Again, we talked about the 2 blocked punts, a blocked extra point attempt. We don't have defensive stats, but we know he was in on a lot of plays. Offensively, he had 2 catches for 24 yards. Impacted the game in all 3 phases. We decided to go with Aiden Cruz.
Yeah, and you talk about making a difference in the game, but that first, I don't know that I've ever seen somebody block 3 kicks in a game. That's an Elias Sports Bureau type thing. To go back and look that one up, right? But when he blocked the extra point early in the game, that was, again, we talked about it, was a nail biter in the second quarter. And that could have been a big point right there, because it kept the lead for Clearview, made sure they led the entire game once they scored. But then to come back not on 1, not on 2, but on 3 consecutive punts Aiden Cruz was in the backfield, just an absolute monster block on the first one. The ball went sideways to the sideline where Clearview recovered and started to drive deep in John Hay's territory. The second one ends up being, he gets a hand on it as it's kicked low, and the ball only squibs not even to the first down marker, and Clearview starts in really good field position there. But the third one goes in the books as basically a tackle for loss, because the punter took a low snap, bobbled it on the ground, and you could see the punter's face. He was looking up. He's trying to pick up the ball, but he's also thinking, where's number one?
Absolutely.
Well, number one wrapped him up, dropped him for a huge loss, and that's unbelievable. That was at the end of the third quarter with 23 seconds to go in the third quarter, where Cruz ended up sacking him. Clearview starts that next drive at the 17-yard line of John Hay, and although they weren't able to convert points at that point, that was just an unbelievable series of 3 straight punts that Aiden Cruz dominated, in addition to the other things that you talked about throughout the game. So for all that effort, and especially for what he did on special teams tonight, Aiden Cruz of Clearview is our Zabo Apparel Company player of the game, where Zabo Apparel reminds you to be game ready all year. Appreciate them and everyone who's a part of what we do here. And the one guy who's always been around Lorain County sports, high school, all different levels, our friend Alan Januzzi, CPA, where it's all about the numbers with Alan Januzzi. So let's get to some numbers that Mike Rush has and run down some of the stats from this game.
Yeah, just a few individual stats here. For Clearview, Cy Christensen passing 11 out of 27 for 83 yards. We mentioned Ethan Lorenzana. He had 20 carries for 101 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Mr. Cruz, Aiden Cruz, 2 catches for 24 yards. Number of skill players on Clearview in on the act tonight. And then for John Hay, Day Rosser, the quarterback, 17 carries for 24 yards. Of course, a lot of that is negative yards, that he had, but he was their main playmaker tonight. He was 10 out of 22 passing for 52 yards.
Yeah, when the way they keep stats, the Clearview defense really skews those stats down, because that is what happened, and you can see that by only 6 points on the board. But you can also see why originally in the coach's corner before the game, Coach Desapita from John Hay. And I tell you what, John Hay, these Senate League teams, they've got a tough hill to climb. I was talking to Coach Desapita. We didn't have a chance to talk about it. They really don't have a practice field. And I've been to John Hay plenty of times, and that's why I asked him, I go, where do you even practice? And he says there's about a 50 by 60 area over on the side of the school where we can get enough spacing to practice some plays. And then on the top of that, you basically have a magnet school for football with Ginn Academy that everyone goes to Glenville, and they're playing in Lorain County tonight too. And we all know, they're one of the better teams in the entire country. So they pretty much are an all-star team for Cleveland, and the rest of the schools get what's left. On top of that, John Hay was actually recognized this week by U.S. News and World Report as one of the top high schools in the area, and actually ranked higher than any high school in Lorain County at number 34. So, they're not exactly, going from this riches of wealth of drawing talent, and yet they were able to come out and make it a 1-point game at halftime. We talked about how this could be a very valuable win for the Clippers down the road, as they'll gain points as they go through the season, because we expect the John Hay Hornets to do very well in the Senate League games, and as a Division II team, there'll be some secondary points that Clearview will earn as the season goes along. Of course, the most important thing, win your own games, and you don't have to worry about that. And Clearview will be starting Lorain County League play next week, as they will take on Keystone. We're going to be over at Firelands for week 4, and Firelands will be hanging close to Columbia. So that is really a top-tier matchup for the opening week of the Lorain County League season. I'm John Guzik along with Mike Rush. Mike, any final thoughts here as we get ready to wrap things up from Clearview?
No, I think non-conference season is over, and you just alluded to it. Lorain County League play starts next week. Conference play all over the area starts next week. That's kind of that next part of the season when the intensity really ramps up and you have a lot of natural rivalries, and now people are competing for a conference championship, so it's exciting.
I want to say very much thank you to all of our sponsors out there, and reminding you to stay tuned. Ross Environmental Services brings you the Scoreboard Show, which can be heard on WOBL and WDLW. Listen any way you want, AM or FM on either station, through the website, or the great app that we have. Just just search for Cool Cat Gold Country in the App Store, and you'll find that app and be able to listen to Dave Rivera and Maria Janasco wrap up not only this game, But all the games across Lorain County, they'll talk to the coaches, they'll talk to the players, they'll have the highlights, they'll have all the stats you need, and you can't find a more complete wrap-up of what's been happening in Lorain County football for Week 3 than right there. So appreciate all the work those guys do. My thanks to Gary and Renee Tollett, the owners of Lorain County Sports Network, for helping make this thing happen in our inaugural season. I don't think we did too bad tonight, right? We're going to keep working, make sure we get better each week, and looking forward to Firelands next week. Want to thank Edwin Vereen, who is the jack of all trades here, gets here early, gets everything set up, director, producer, on-site engineer. Appreciate everything you do. Hot dog grader. Andrew Bauman behind the camera, and my partner Mike Rush. Appreciate you being here. I'm John Guzik, thanking you for watching, listening to us here on the Lorain County Sports Network, and looking forward to next week as we'll be live from Firelands. So make sure you're tuned in here on our YouTube channel for the Lorain County Sports Network.